All right, gentlemen, it is time once again for the Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9005. One of the last few 9005s that will ever air.
Yes.
Even fewer if YouTube keeps fucking rejecting the videos I send for upload. Fuck you, YouTube.
Indeed.
Right, so I actually don't really have any solid idea of what we're gonna do tonight because I haven't really been reading too much recently. I've been in a massive fucking slump up until today, where I was in such a bad of a slump that I couldn't even muster the motivation to indulge in substance abuse, which is pretty significant,
Yes.
considering that substance abuse tends to be what people go for when they're in such slumps.
Indeed.
So, what?
Did I come into?
Substance abuse.
I see.
So yeah, I effectively got nothing done for like the past three-ish weeks. So that's been rough. So I'm just gonna wing it tonight and spin the wheel on what we start with. I'm thinking Pokemon, since I had like 5 fucking people DM me about Pokemon in the past week. So
You're welcome.
Yeah, Gray was one of those. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna go extra cringe, and we're gonna go Pokemon crossovers. Why is Pokemon crossovers the largest crossover section?
Because
probably because lots of people want to do it, and they just had a hot new game come out.
Yeah, but like
Because
Pokemon makes
children.
for terrible crossovers.
They don't care about that. All they
Yeah,
see
they're
is
stupid.
Pokemon.
By
Yeah,
virtue
see,
of having run so long.
See, they're gonna be like, oh, Pokemon in 40k, Pokemon in Fate Grand Order, Pokemon in Fallout.
Yeah, but like, I have never, like, there's a lot of series where I'd be like, oh man, you know, Doom Guy showing up would be hilarious, or, oh, Tanya reacting to this would be funny. Like, I have those moments with a lot of series. But Pokemon has never come up in my mind of, you know what would be a good scene in Pokemon? This kind of crossover. Never. In any series, ever, have I had that thought. Because Pokemon is its own fucking thing.
Pile of shit.
Well, no, it's just like, the people in Pokemon don't have superpowers. They all rely on the Pokemon for it, which makes it very hard to do a crossover. Okay, you know what I mean. 99% of them don't have superpowers. It makes it very hard to do a crossover for it, and if you do a crossover of like, oh, Bruno shows up in My Hero Academia and just punches everyone, well, then it's not really a Pokemon crossover, because Bruno isn't a Pokemon. He might as well just be a My Hero Academia character.
Right.
But okay, so you do get Pokemon. So you say in this hypothetical example, you bring Pokemon into My Hero Academia. Okay, so first off, you now have a bunch of political shit because My Hero Academia has rights for sentient animals, and as far as everyone in My Hero Academia is concerned, you're currently enslaving 6 animals to use for dogfighting.
Well, not just that, like, let's be clear. Pokemon are, for all intents and purposes, sentient.
I mean, I just said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
I literally just made that point.
They aren't. They don't seem to be given the same consideration in
Pokemon. They aren't.
Fuck?
Well, that's the same for black
Hang
people
on a
in the
second.
1600s.
Nose is calling me, and I need to yell it.
Okay, well, fuck you. Okay, so anyway, my point being is that Atin's fucking retarded and doesn't listen to anything I say. News at 11. So Pokemon in My Hero Academia, you're effectively entering into that world as a professional dog fighter using slaves. So you're a villain by default.
Instantly and immediately, yeah.
Unless you're doing massive mental gymnastics of trying to convince the heroes, which are, by the way, hyper-authoritarians to the point where using your quirk to defend yourself in a lethal scenario can see you arrested.
Yeah.
So that's the environment you're dropping into. So the Pokemon aren't going to do great in that environment. So you, like I said, already you got a bunch of political garbage going on that you have to basically hand wave away to even have the plot happen. Because otherwise, it's just going to be a story about how you, with your Pokemon, fight the cast of My Hero Academia, which is not great for an extended story, mildly amusing for a one-shot, but if you're trying to turn that into a story, not gonna do fantastic on that. And so, assuming that even then, so we're gonna hand wave all the political garbage out of the way. Okay, so we got 6 Pokemon, which are effectively just Mutant Quirk, My Hero Academia characters. What do they add to the story? Absolutely nothing, because they can't talk. Alright, so we have 6 characters who can't talk, who are supposed to interact with the group, who can only do it through basically one person, and they're gonna do... what? They join the class, and they get taught subjects, and then they occasionally fight the main character villains? Like, what does that really do in the story? Like, doesn't really change anything? Doesn't really add anything? Yeah, like, there's no point in time. Like, there's no point in time where it's like, oh man, I'm ready for the part where the Pokemon trainer throws out his Lucario and beats up the bad guy, I guess. And then we waste another 13 chapters about how he's making such great friends. And then he throws out another Pokemon and beats up the bad guy again.
Now, you know what I think would be fun?
What?
Let's do it where the Pokemon trainer shows up with a few extra Pokeballs, runs into one of the mutant heroes first, and just immediately just six his Pokemon on him, gets him in the Pokeball.
Well,
Oh,
see,
Jesus.
see, as amusing as that would be, that would have to hand wave a whole bunch of shit. Like, the Pokeball working on people from another planet. Because that was actually a plot point, if you remember the Deoxys movie, is that the Deoxys couldn't be captured by the standard Pokemon restraint beams. Because
I do not recall that.
Okay, well, he's a Pokemon from space and isn't native to the planet, so the Pokebeams didn't work on him. So he rampaged through the city.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, it's canon.
The
Well,
Deoxys movie was an entirely different thing.
The Deoxys movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he short-circuited the Pokeballs or something.
That's what I'm
he?
saying. Is tonight just a night where everyone just doesn't fucking listen to the words out of my mouth?
I'm trying to
Or
recall.
are you trying to imply a different form of short-circuiting as opposed to, like, preventing it from functioning because he's from another planet, like physically disabling it as opposed to it not working?
I mean, isn't that effectively the same thing?
Well,
Not even remember.
it is the
Different-
same thing, but it's an important difference if Deoxys is in some way preventing it from functioning via an action as opposed to it just doesn't work on him.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I don't. It's been a while since I saw the movie, but there's in the one of the animations they show a trainer catching a Deoxys with a Pokeball, and even if it's maybe just different continuity of Pokemon, I don't remember Deoxys being that special that a Pokeball hitting him will not activate to try and capture him. I just remember passively slightly that maybe he did something to the tower in the movie that basically short-circuited Pokeballs so they wouldn't respond in general, not just capturing him. But I could be off.
Well, there's a really easy solution to this.
Check the wiki.
I am.
If I can remember how the fuck to spell Deoxys.
I'm already reading the wiki right now.
XYS.
Okay, Deoxys emits a field that disables the city's power. God, fucking Deoxys was fucking wild. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Huh. It was one of the
Um,
favorite ones.
Proceeds to fucking have just bare knuckle boxing with Rayquaza.
Yeah, but funny thing though, I actually picked up and started Violet today.
Oh yeah?
I'm playing it right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so there's nothing in here specifically saying that because he's from another planet it didn't work. Alright, fair enough. Okay, fine. Still, being the fact that, they're not Pokemon, they don't have the Pokemon DNA, and the Pokeballs don't work on people. So unless you're saying that, oh, well, they programmed the Pokeballs to not work on people in the Pokemon world, okay, fair, I guess. Why would they then work on the My Hero Academia people? Unless you're trying to go for a fusion world concept in which actually all of the My Hero Academia characters are hybrid Pokemon or some shit.
Yeah, what you're
That would be-
describing,
Even more fucked up.
what you're describing for the MHA crossover with it, absolutely horrid, and
If anything,
stupid.
A dumber idea that I would find more interesting, however, would be that you would capture the quirk instead of the person. And it turns into a fucking Pokemon because...
I'm sorry, I
Fuck
just
you.
imagine hitting someone like Mirakuru with that Pokeball now.
Yes, and it just turns into a Lopunny.
And then you just have an angry normal woman in front of you. What the fuck did you do?
Indeed.
Tries to jackhammer kick you. Kill!
Yeah. I mean, you would still probably get your shit rocked because she is exceedingly fit.
Yes, but it wouldn't be like supernaturally bone shattering.
Yes, probably not.
It'd
No.
just be naturally bone shattering.
Yeah, so it should be natural bone shatterings. Still, point being is that barring you pulling shit out of your ass to make the scenario good, Pokemon My Hero Academia is just dumb. It doesn't work, it doesn't add anything, it's not interesting. There's no real moments where you'd be like, oh man, watching Giratina beat up All For One sure would be good.
No.
Just like that doesn't fucking happen.
Can't say that would be that enjoyable. Internet.
Yeah. Okay, so sci-fi story, Pokemon and sci-fi. They get shot by bullets, they die. Okay, that's not a really interesting story now. Alright, so then we move on to a medieval fantasy story. So Pokemon show up, they're basically effectively monsters in the medieval fantasy story, and wow, that's really calling back to some old naming titles. They effectively add nothing to the story, because again, they are 6 separate characters from the character that can actually act upon the world. That don't say anything. And mostly just do what the other guy tells them to. Which really only works in a Pokemon story, because when you go to read a Pokemon story, you kind of acknowledge the fact that you're going to have mostly just like 2 to 4 characters actually doing the talking, but you have like 16 to 20 in the cast.
Yeah, the only exception for that would be Mystery Dungeon, but that's still the same.
Yeah,
problem.
but Mystery Dungeon just falls under the umbrella of normal story then at that point, because all of the characters are capable of talking then. But if you show up in Mystery Dungeon and you're like, oh wait, well the characters from Mystery Dungeon end up in a normal world, well, no one speaks Pokemon.
Yes.
So
There's no point.
Yeah.
Again, because you can't have the interactions.
Yeah.
And if you try to hand wave that, people call you out on it.
Well, I mean,
because it's
even if you
dumb.
don't hand wave it, it's like, okay, so you have a Pokemon that can speak, take Meowth. You put Meowth in a medieval fantasy story. What does he add to it?
Nothing, except now the town thinks you're a demon.
Well, yeah, I mean that too. I mean, like, so Familiar
Well,
of Zero.
which-
Let's use Familiar of Zero, because that's an easy one to explain why they're there. So Meowth, who can talk, shows up in Familiar of Zero. What does he add as the Familiar? Nothing.
There is apparently a Team Rocket is summoned by Luis, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure there is. You know what Team Rocket does to the story? Nothing. You have to ass pull them actually changing the story.
Yeah.
Which just proves my point. Literally, Pokemon is just an actual net negative when you try to cross over with anything.
Yes.
It's just what it is. I mean, superpowers are all located in not the character that acts upon the world. They're either incredibly overpowered, like, Dusclops, just being like, oh, your soul, it goes to the afterworld now.
Yep.
Or they're incredibly
Hey.
underpowered, like Overtata.
Okay, but Sneaky, you're missing the most important point here to Pokemon crossovers.
What's that?
Because it's Pokemon plus insert random story here. Pokemon can only add awesome to it, so saith random retarded authors.
I mean, yes, random retarded authors, but I don't count them as people, so...
Yeah, but I don't count communists as people either, and yet I'm not allowed to do something about that.
Yet. Yeah, it's important.
Yet.
But, I mean, so even then, say it's the reverse. Say a character is going into Pokemon. Doom Guy goes into Pokemon. He kills a bunch of people? Question mark? I guess?
He kills a bunch of Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess? Question mark? I mean, again, it's sort of like the Alex Mercer crossover stories, where the only reason why you would be reading that sort of crossover is because you know Alex Mercer's about to kill a bunch of shit. Like, if you're not gonna read, like, a prototype or Doom story where they end up in Pokemon, they're like, I'm gonna go on a Pokemon journey now and stop killing people. Because then you just be like, well, I'm reading this
What's the
story for them to
point?
kill people.
Yeah, that sounds fucking dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it, which is why I'm bringing it up.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Boy.
But so it's like, okay, so Murder Hobo and Pokemon versus lame, unless it's like a one-shot where they just murder everyone. Alright, so let's go with a very common one I've seen then. Naruto goes into the Pokemon verse, and I guess he trains with his Pokemon and like learns jutsu from them somehow or something.
But why?
And
Because Naruto is popular.
yeah, because
And
literally
Pokemon.
it's your exact fucking logic of because Naruto popular, because Pokemon popular. And
Yeah, I know, but it hurts.
I have seen multiple of these stories, and even stories from authors that I genuinely are like, oh, this guy is pretty good at writing a story. Not that the story's good, he's good at writing a story. Key difference. Even from authors like that who tried to do a Naruto Pokemon crossover, it kind of just meandered and didn't know what to do. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, because you have a character who is typically used in personal versus personal action, who is now standing there and has to monologue and think about tactics, which is shit he's not known for. And he has to direct other characters to do things for him. When everyone more or less knows that barring, like, child Naruto, like, post-Rasengan learning Naruto probably could fight a decent amount of Pokemon himself. And this goes for a lot of characters. Say fucking Natsu shows up in Pokemon, and it's like, oh, he's a Pokemon trainer now, and he's got to direct the Pokemon. It's kind of just like, but why? Like, we know he could probably fight these on his own, with his own
Natsu
fists.
would just go, Charizard, beat the shit out of it. I'll help
No,
you."
he would be more like, Charizard, shoot fire at me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
People
Well,
like,
I mean-
Charizard, cook these steaks for me. I'm gonna go beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, basically.
Now, listen, I think it would be, like, listen, for a one-shot, it would be funny to have the announcer go, and now, Natsu Dragoneel, and he appears to be stepping onto the field
Oh, well,
while his Charizard
You know that's like
cooks a
canon,
steak."
right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Just want to be sure, because we're using that for several things. Is Bruno, in the adventure manga, just canonically battles in the place of his Pokemon sometimes. Because Bruno's just a fucking Chad.
Bruno is amazing.
Bruno is a
just
fucking
built-
lunatic.
He's just
He's
built different.
great.
He is absolutely built different.
The adventure
Uh.
manga is wild. It is the Pokemon story we all deserve, but we never got till much later in life.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, because you're here now, Max, did you see that picture I posted earlier?
In here? What do you mean here now?
Well, here now as in, like, you weren't part of the conversation we had earlier in Discord. Did you see the picture earlier I posted about how the main character from the new Pokemon anime and, the, Mercury Witch anime
Yes,
is basically
we-
the same thing?
we're like 2 days behind, my guy.
Well, I got the news about 3 hours ago, so...
Yeah, no, that was making the rounds, I think, yesterday.
Awesome.
On Discord.
I'm glad we're all on the same page
Those,
then.
those people are crazy. But,
Everybody was just like, hey, look, Hobo Ghoul, here we go.
But, yeah, I'm glad they're finally, retiring Ash. He's fucking 35 now, you know?
Listen, I want them to do the haha funny meme episode, have Ash get home and just suddenly age 35 years.
Celebi's like,
No.
oh,
Jesus.
right, I forgot, Tink.
what if he actually does just wake up?
Oh, don't do that.
What
That's
if
just
that's-
cruel.
What if that's the first episode of the 11
Okay,
episode arc
no,
that
no,
they're
to be
doing?
fair, the Pokemon Masters thing was really fucking weird. They're like, oh, you're the best trainer in the world? You're now king of the world? That was fucking weird.
That's fucking dumb. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah, that was really fucking weird. Also, he's like now canonically a 10-year-old king who somehow has literally 8 years worth of adventure.
Also,
God,
has saved the
minimum.
world
Stupid.
several times.
Yeah.
Anniversaries.
It's kind of just like, to give an idea, some of his Pokemon aged enough to start their own families. And he's still somehow 10.
You just don't think about it. You'll be happier.
But,
Oh, okay. He's mortal.
But anyway, point being is, it's just really fucking weird. Kind of there's like, oh yeah, you're king now. You're the best battler, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck? The next episode better fucking be Ash wakes up from his coma or some shit. Like, that shit just made no fucking sense. Best battler in the world. You're the king now. Goddamn dumb is what it is.
You are the king of the battlers, Ash. Congratulations.
like if they want to call him king, have him be king after defending his crown, like his title as the best trainer.
Listen, if
numerous
you
times,
cut
like
the
Leon was.
35-year-old Ash still whooping people's asses, I'm on board.
See, I think, like I said, again, they should have done the whole age up thing, because Ash being like, age 35, being crowned as king, I'd be like, okay, he's worked to this point, it shows he's like basically retirement age now for a Pokemon trainer, effectively, because only fucking teenagers do it, really.
Unless you're in the Elite Four.
Well, yeah, but
gym
the
leader.
Elite Four are...
Agree.
The Elite Four are effectively like a mix of special forces, emergency response, and figureheads. Where canonically, they're supposed to take care of the big problem that occur in the region they're in.
Yeah.
But they're also kind of just not really expected to do much beyond that, so they're not like expected to go off on adventures and shit. They're like, okay, this person's just chilling out at the building, 6 out of 7 days.
They will be here when a problem occurs.
Yeah. And honestly, if you look at the adventure manga with some of the shit I've heard from it, where if Agatha walks around, literally a swarm of ghosts like that can engulf several miles follows her, shit like
not
that.
several
yeah,
miles, but
Adventures
yeah,
was a
they
drug
do
trip.
they do just gather around her wherever she goes.
Oh,
It's
or
like, there's a mob of ghosts. Agatha must be taking a walk.
yeah, or it's like what's her face? The ice lady literally causes a localized snowstorm in her area and shit like that. So it's like, okay, weird. Can also sort of understand why people are kind of like, hey, don't come near civilization unless we need you to save it. Okay, thanks.
Please stay on top of the mountain. Thank you.
Also, just it's great because it's like, oh yeah, Agatha's got her ghost swarm. Lance is over here taming fucking dragons, and then there's this guy, and he points to Bruno. He's just really muscly, and it's like, well,
What does Bruno do?
what's his special power? He will break your Pokemon, as in like snap them in half with his own hands. It's like, oh.
Yeah, he
Okay.
regularly spars with his Machamp, I think.
Yes.
Like,
His Machamp, yeah.
Pokemon
They
Adventures was like a drug trip just for like all the shit that went down and some of the people
Pokemon
in it.
Adventures was also like, what if we take the Pokédex entries and we only turn them down 10%, but it's still bullshit?
Yes.
Like, the anime ignores
Oh no,
the
to be
game's
fair,
Pokédex entries.
I
for the
did
most part.
appreciate Adventures for what it did with the whole Team Rocket thing of exploring the idea of what if Pokemon trainers were basically given the final authority on a lot of shit, and the Elite Four ended up being like these people who were too strong to be held accountable for their actions, so they all ended up being horribly corrupt.
Yeah, they basically went eco-terrorist, if I remember the mangas correctly. They were planning on killing all humans for some reason.
I mean, they're walking around with living bioweapons.
It's been a minute since I remember Team
I'm
Rocket stuff.
looking at
Now,
like the
that
wiki.
wasn't Team Rocket. I don't think that was the Black and White era where Pokemon PETA.
No,
they were
No, that was the
Adventures.
Elite.
No, we're talking about Adventures, not the Pokemon games.
Lorelei, Agatha, like all
that
those
was also
four.
a thing in the Sneaky. They still follow the game's chronology. Like,
Yes, but the thing is, in Adventures, most of the Elite Four and a fair bit of the gym leaders were part of Team Rocket, except the Elite Four did like a triple, double, quadruple cross, where they were like, secretly, we were just using Team Rocket this whole time so we could commit our eco-terrorism route of killing everyone.
I don't think that ever happened with that.
I'm reading the wiki for Lorelei, and it doesn't seem like she worked with them. I know a few of the gym leaders worked with them. I don't think any of the Elite Four
Sabrina
and
Koga worked with them, I know.
Yeah,
Those were
Sabrina,
gym leaders.
Koga, and Surge worked with them.
Yeah, those were working on the old ice dude in Johto was. Oh, wait, no, I don't think he was I don't think he was Rocket. He was the villain, but
Yeah, there was a lot of shit in groups going on. Like,
yeah, Koga wasn't
I'll-
the Elite Four at the time.
and
But he
like
was-
I
if he-
said, the Elite Four doing it, they were like, "Oh, we're part of Team Rocket. Oh, but secretly we aren't. Oh, but we're actually betraying other people now." It's like, so I don't think they'd be classified as being part of Team Rocket in like the wiki.
Honestly, this just seems like a really good reason to reread Adventures.
Adventures was great. Yeah,
I'm
Adventures
like,
was great. Yeah.
Man, God, this boy, it's like, yo, that Onyx is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that Onyx is dead. Oh Lord.
That Onyx.
Oh
He's
Lord, he did.
fucking dead.
Also, I did make the joke that Cyan eventually was going to get commissioned to write a story where Ash gives several dozen fucks, now at the age of 35, to his horde of girls that pursued him.
This works.
Yeah. Including the Latias. You have to write a full chapter.
What's a Latias?
The Pokemon.
I have to look it up. And no, I don't do pokey fucking unless it's very specific ones.
Basically a jet that can pretend to be a human for a while.
Hang on.
It's not a bad way of describing that, actually.
Now, here's the question. How does that work?
The whole pretend to be a human bit?
Yeah, like, no, I mean having a child with that bit.
Well,
Honestly,
as far as canon is concerned, I believe it follows the mother. In terms
spell
of
this thing?
species.
No, don't think
No,
it
I mean,
does.
I meant, like, is this like the question of
I
like?
was making a
if
Pokemon
Naruto-
egg joke.
Yeah. Okay. Checking. Man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was a
Shit.
Pokemon egg joke where the Pokemon is
You
always
said
the mother.
Latias?
Yes. And as far as the whole temporarily can pretend to be a human bit, I'm not really sure how that works either. I can only assume Pokemon fuckery. Psychic power.
It is one of the legendaries, so
Yeah, substitution. It's an ability. I suppose if you take that one step farther, you can craft a body, I guess, or something. I don't fucking know, man. It's weird. Just it is what it is. Look, man, all I am is I'm just glad they haven't gone the My Little Pony route of making a legendary high school where all of the legendaries are now high school girls in high school.
It's coming.
oh yeah, that was a thing that MLP did.
Yeah, that was a
Wasn't
thing.
it?
Yeah.
Wow. Just think, Sneaky, I could have gone the rest of my life not remembering that thing.
You could have, but you come to this podcast twice a week, so the chances of that were ever increasing. Or ever decreasing, I suppose I should say. But yeah, so back to the original point is any character going into Pokemon isn't super interesting. If the character already has powers and they go into Pokemon and they become a Pokemon trainer, it basically depowers them. If they don't become a Pokemon trainer, then it kind of just becomes weird because everyone else is using Pokemon and they like have to go beat up Pokemon, except a lot of people won't fight a person, even if that person is shooting beams of fire from their mouth. Because they're like, well, you're not a Pokemon. And people are kind of hung up about that part.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of just have this image of like, I'm not fighting you, why? Because you're not Bruno.
A, you're not part of the Elite Four. B, I have a Tyranitar and I'm pretty sure he'll flatten you. Literally, physically. You will become a human pancake of mushed bones. Also, by the way,
Totally
Max, I was talking with Gray throughout the day about his idea for a Pokemon story. Quite an interesting one in terms of just meme potential, I suppose you could call it these days, as the kids say. Not a great solid story in terms of storytelling, I suppose to say. Because it's basically, the premise is that Dawn, at a young age, ends up meeting a Darkrai.
Yeah, you guys were talking a tiny bit about that in the writing section.
Yeah, she ends up meeting a Darkrai. He hops into her shadow. She ends up becoming the weird creepy kid because her typing changed to Ghost Dark. Everyone sort of kind of avoids her, and she then takes that in true child fashion and turns into a spiteful, sarcastic little shit who decides that if everyone's going to treat me like I'm bad, I'm just going to be the antagonist of the world, and proceeds to humiliate people in their fights before winning them. And funny moments like Darkrai acting as Dawn's stand. Dawn using Pokemon abilities. And then my brain decided it was going to produce a small, short, animated little bit where the JoJo Golden Wind music was playing, that meme. And except every single time it hit the beat, additional part of Dawn's team would appear behind her, and that the final part of it being Giratina shows up looming over everyone, or whoever was challenging Dawn, thinking that she was easy to beat. So yeah, stuff like that. That was enjoyable, that we spent most of the day on. Like I said, it doesn't have much in terms of actual going somewhere properties. It's more just going to be a chain of amusing scenes that keeps it going than any compelling storytelling. So, yeah.
Well, that's certainly an idea.
Yeah. Gray's mostly writing it this time around. Much like his Familiar of Zero story, it's going to be one of those ones that I just kind of sit there and help him think about how to write, rather than sit there and write myself, because we are currently sitting on the Undying Scarab still, like as I've said, for about a month now. As I've just been in such a major slump that it's kind of just been not happening. Got a little bit done today though, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, so now that I've spent the past 38 minutes effectively talking about all the ways that Pokemon crossovers are stupid, dumb, boring, wrong, and effectively add nothing to the interest of a story, let's go read some and prove me right once again. Honestly, the only jar that is more disappointing to put a coin into than the Alex Jones was right jar is definitely the Sneaky was right again jar.
Yeah, but you get yours maybe twice a week. Alex gets his about once a day these days.
Like I said, the more disappointing, because at least with Alex Jones, you're like, oh, this could actually impact my life, and so therefore it's interesting, as much as it is horrifying. With the Sneaky was right again jar, typically I'm right about shit that has absolutely no relevance to anything that actually matters in your life, and so it's kind of just really irritating when you have to put a coin into it.
That's fair.
The Ethereal Fairy, as in true fashion, this is a fairy tale Pokemon crossover. Sent to a strange magical world and sent on a quest that would save not one world, but two, join my totally OP OC and his friends in the most rambunctious guild in the new world. This is going to be an OC harem story, of course, because the one character who can't use magic or have superpowers is going to somehow maintain a harem. I really hope this harem does not include his Pokemon. But you never know.
You know it will.
I really hope it doesn't.
Gardevoir.
Oh boy, we're calling out someone already. I would like to give a big shout out to my beta, Insanity Enforcer, for helping with the editing, suggesting, and proofreading of the story, so we know who to fucking throw insults at if this story ends up being garbage, which, being that it only has 31 favorites, 5 reviews, and you've been writing it for 2 years now, I can only imagine it's fucking terrible. He's also only managed 34,000 words in the span of 2 years, which even I am faster than.
Yes.
How many words in how many years?
36,000 words in 2 years. Yeah.
That's wow.
Pretty bad.
For an OC harem story with a massive epic tier adventure that will save 2 worlds, it's a story that even if it had the most interesting writing in the world, I would never read by the sheer dint that it's never going to get fucking completed. Like, it doesn't even have the hope of ever getting completed, or getting remotely completed, or even getting to the halfway point. I'll be fucking dead by the time the author finishes the first arc at this rate.
Yeah.
As long as the universe has stood where there is a force of creation to build something new and grand.
Okay.
That's not a sentence.
It's a statement.
That is
Not
a statement.
complete one. But
Yeah.
it's not really much else.
Yep. Okay. Though in return, there would be a force of destruction to end existence and have things start anew. What? Why?
His reasons.
Specifically, I have no problem with the whole there's a cycle of creation destruction. I have no problem with that sort of framing. My problem was more specifically with how he worded it, where he's like, creation exists, and in return, so does destruction. It's like, well, why would destruction exist because creation exists? Like, that's really weird framing.
One does not guarantee the other.
I mean, yes, obviously things degrade, so therefore destruction exists, but that doesn't... That's like saying, oh, well, a chicken was born, so an egg was hatched or some shit. It's like, well, that's not even a good metaphor, but you get my point, though, right? Where it's like, it doesn't explain where the chicken originally came from, I guess is my point. It's kind of
The
just
chicken
like
came from the place all author explanations come from. Their ass.
yeah, effectively. It's just really weird wording and doesn't make much sense. But anyway, it has been many years since the creation of the universe. Ah, yes, many years! It has been a fair number of years since the creation of universe, gentlemen.
Like, at least 12, guys.
It's been at
I'm with
least
you.
a decade since the creation of the universe.
Oh my gosh, the universe has been around for like 5 minutes. This is passé.
By a being known as Arceus. Honestly, I don't believe that Arceus created the universe. I am, in fact, a Mewist. I also don't believe Arceus created the universe, like, period, or Mew. I don't think either of them created it. They don't have enough power. Neither of them do. Arceus
Not-
literally...
Maybe they did it together.
Arceus literally
Obviously-
got beat by a dude with a rock.
Obviously the universe was created by Ho-Oh.
If I can beat up God with a rock, I don't think he's God. I'm
Wait,
just...
Sneaky
Arceus got beat with a rock?
yeah,
Sneaky,
dude
he
got
just
beat up
lost
with a
all-
rock.
When was that?
The movie.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Arceus and the Jewel thing?
Yeah, they literally dropped a rock on him, and he's like, I've been defeated. It's like, bro.
It has been a long time since
how
I
the
saw
fuck
that
are you
movie. Holy
God?
shit.
Again, this is just shit that my brain's just like, hey, we're gonna remember this for the rest of your life, but like key critical shit that's important, no, you're not gonna remember that more than a day. It's like, okay, cool, thanks, brain. I'm glad you're prioritizing. But yeah,
Gotta keep your priorities straight.
God gets beat with a fucking rock. I don't think he's God, and I don't think he created the universe. Also, Mew has Arceus DNA inside him. So I don't think that Arceus created Mew with his own DNA inside Mew, because Mew is supposed to be the progenitor of all the Pokemon, because they have all the DNA of all the Pokemon in them. So if they made all the Pokemon, then why would there be Arceus DNA inside of Mew then? If they didn't make Arceus, but they made the rest of the Pokemon. Just throwing that out there.
Snaky, stop making sense.
I will
You
not.
think about it too hard.
No, I'm a Mewist. Fight me.
Honestly, I'm just an Ashes. The entire world revolves around Ash's delusions and is created for his convenience and joy.
Actually, the
Well, I mean, you're not
entirety
wrong.
of the entirety of season 1 of Pokemon is real. My canon is that during the death scene in the first movie, Ash doesn't in fact fight Mew at all. He actually gets knocked out by Mewtwo's psychic power. And literally the rest of the movie is just his delusion of everything that happened after that. Because if you remember, that show really only got crazy after that movie.
Pose?
You're not wrong. Shit just started getting more wild, and the antics just kind of escalated from there.
Like, fucking Pikachu beat Brock using the sprinkler system, and like he beat Misty. How did he beat Misty again? Like electrocuted
I
the
think
water.
he just physically beat Misty.
he just put on his sleeveless t-shirt and
Indeed.
popped the beer open. You think so?
I don't have any evidence otherwise.
Oh, that's fair enough, I suppose. It had been many years since the creation of the universe, along with his children, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and Mew, that gave life to the creatures that now exist on Earth. Things were somewhat peaceful in the world. On the Pokemon planet? Or we're just gonna ignore the part where, Arceus gets beat with a fucking rock? Until something never before seen appeared in Machina Town, a large serpentine dragon that appeared to be made out of raw energy and crystal scales with claws and wings and multiple heads. And the dragon rampaged through the lands, destroying everything in sight, and the gods, they just sat there and watched and said, cool, pass the popcorn, I guess.
Sounds about right for most gods.
Yeah, I can't imagine what else would be going on during this incident if the gods of space and fucking time couldn't be fucked to stop it. Mew at least has an excuse of just never being fucking around for anything important ever.
Mew is like, world's ending?
Not my
I'm gonna
problem.
nap.
Gonna
Not
go.
a problem. I'm going to go teleport to Alola.
I'm teleporting somewhere where your ass isn't.
Gonna go
God damn
teleport.
it.
Gonna go teleport a an avalanche onto someone in the Hawaii, because that'd be funny. Just Mew things.
The only thing that runs away from problems faster than Mew is Ash's father.
Ooh.
Oh, I was gonna make a Gundam joke, but yeah, that works.
Listen, Gundams don't run away from problems. They run towards the problems. They
Oh.
are the problem.
No,
They are
I
the
was
problem.
talking about the character, pink hair guy.
Oh. No, Ghoul is actually not running away from his problems. He's actually fixing his problem by getting away from his terrible father.
And AI, right?
Yeah, so the kid is actually an amazingly good pilot. Dad didn't trust him, so Dad's like, don't worry, son, you just sit in the cockpit and let the AI beat the Gundam. The Gundam starts beating the AI's ass. The kid turns off the AI and starts beating the Gundam's ass.
While
With a
missing
crippled
two-
mobile suit.
Yeah, while missing 2 primary arms on the mobile suit, no less.
So if Dad had just let him go, he might have been fine.
So what you're saying is, if Dad just let him rip.
Yes.
Boo. Boo, Sneaky.
I'm not sorry.
You never are.
I know exactly. It's like my grandfather told me: never do something you'd be sorry about.
No, do things other people will be sorry about.
Well, that wasn't in
What's
part of
that
the advice.
stupid meme from the show with the talking fast food, the milkshake? Oh yeah. God has
Aqua
allowed
Teen
me to
Hunger
live
Force.
another. Yeah. I purposely don't remember the name because it's an absolutely retarded abomination.
It was.
But God has allowed me to live another day, and I've decided to make that everyone else's problem.
Indeed, yes. If I'm part of God's plan, I got some bad news for everyone else.
That show was something special.
It was something, certainly.
Sure.
So anyway, after destroying a whole bunch of shit, but only appearing once he finally nears Arceus' temple. Oh wow, really? Destroy the country? Cool with me. Oh, get near my temple? Oh, now it's go time.
Now we have a problem.
Begone.
Again, this is most gods.
Begone, you are not of this world, dragon. The white creature known as Arceus, the almighty creator declared. Yes, the almighty creator who just let the dragon destroy everything. Declared. The dragon retorted with a powerful roar as the newcomer before charging the alpha Pokemon. And Arceus stood there, waiting for the dragon to... Grandpa, we know what happens next, said the young voice of a young boy. I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough, fine. It's a story, but still kind of cringe. Young voice. Said the young voice of a young boy. Oh, I wonder, how old was the boy? Was he young? Think he was young, guys?
Nah, I think he
No.
was like,
Minimum 20s.
yeah, maybe even 30.
Depends.
Depends on what.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I'm thinking, Sneaky.
God fucking damn it, son. I knew you were gonna go there.
Hey, how about we go somewhere else?
Ah, yes. Yes, sign. You found it. And nice. I will completely, without shame, take that. It goes into the folder.
You're welcome.
But yes, that one. Like
I
I
don't know,
said,
she got a good maid outfit.
yeah, like I said, it's really weird. The Pokemon can just occasionally pretend to be human for some weird reason. And yes, this fully includes body shape because she hugs Ash as a human before turning into the fucking jet, which has completely different proportions.
You know what weird
And
reason
they
that
talk in
is.
human form?
What?
Yes, I think.
In the manga, yes. Anime, no.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
I
He
asked if
asked
they
if
could
Latias
speak
and
in
Latios
human
could
form.
talk.
Oh,
Obviously, I know Pokemon form. They can't.
Yeah, Latios and I think Latios talked in the adventure manga, never said shit in the movie.
Well, in the movie, they had an excuse because they were both like 4 years old. And I think Latias said goodbye in
To Ash?
to Ash.
No, she kissed him. Or it's implied she was the one who kissed him, transformed as the girl,
Yeah.
Bianca.
I could have sworn
But she never said goodbye.
You sure?
I'm fairly certain she said goodbye. She just showed up, kissed Ash, walked away. And that's why people are suspecting it's her.
It's definitely her.
I mean, it was obviously her because Bianca was not interested in Ash at all. What is this fucking bullshit? Latias is able to appear as a human by refracting light? That is not how that works at
It's a
all.
hologram. What?
It's a fucking hologram somehow.
That's some bullshit.
That's a hell of a hologram if you can hug them.
Well, not only that, he
Yeah.
clearly felt her kiss him.
Well, I mean,
Okay, I mean,
I
like,
mean,
look.
motherfuckers are pretty degenerate.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
Look,
okay.
I can buy
Okay.
camo.
There is the argument it is a psychic type.
Right, no, I know. Okay, so fair enough. I can buy camo. I can buy optical camo using refracted light. That's something I can buy because we kind of sort of actually have it working IRL a little bit. What I can't buy is using that optical camo to somehow refract the body shape of something nowhere near you. That's like my car using optical camo to look like what's something that moves that isn't shaped like a car.
A bicycle.
No, I mean, yeah,
Actually,
sure,
the bicycle
fine.
would work.
Yeah, a bicycle. It's like
smaller.
using optical camo to look like a bicycle, but then also at the same time it's capable of fitting into locations that only a bicycle could go. And it's like, wait a second, hold on, that's not how that fucking works.
But Sneaky, it was a bicycle at the time.
Yeah.
Silence, heretic.
Physics, what's that?
A suggestion.
A suggestion for the feeble-minded.
Don't
Those
talk
who
to me
have not
about your
seen the
logics
glory of
and
chaos.
physics.
Oh, good. There's just a whole thread about which one of them kissed Ash.
Yeah, I know, yes.
I'm sure there's multiple threads.
Oh, I'm sure there's multiple threads and stories.
I'm sure there's almost a whole fucking
Just go to
Reddit
Bulbapedia and
subreddit.
open up the movie section. That usually gives you some details.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, no, it looks like Latias didn't talk at all. Okay, fair enough. Maybe she, like, mouthed it or something. What the fuck is this shit? There's more fake ghost shit. Okay, yes. Alright, fair enough. That's a good funny one. Very well. You may live.
Good old Miramasa.
Why are you taking off your clothes?
Because things are about to get a whole lot more interesting.
Oh, God. Anyway, so I mean, the grammar on this story is questionable at times, but fine. The author's got some very weird means of detail, description, narrative. The sentences are quite awkward when he's trying to describe things. As 3 little kids, 2 boys, 1 girl, were sitting on the floor as older man in dark blue shirt with light gray sash around his waist, gray pants, brown boots, was sitting down in a chair reading from old storybook. It's like, what?
That was a lot to just throw at us.
It's just like, oh yeah, so there's kids here, there's this old man here. Also, by the way, I'm gonna give a complete clothing description of the old man. So yeah, anyway, he's sitting down in this chair. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
Please go back just a moment.
Why is there a clothing description? Why is that important? Why can't it just be like, oh yeah, it's an old man, he's talking to his kids. It's like, why do we have to have concrete clothes descriptions for everyone?
Painting a mental picture.
Yeah, sure, like, but unless it was important, I don't really remember published books ever really doing that. Like, I don't remember any published book ever starting with, this is the character, this is what they look like, and this is the clothing they're currently wearing.
That's because the author doesn't know how not to waste words.
Yeah, I mean, fair. It's just confusing for me as to, like, where these people, like, it's always it throws me for a loop, is basically what I'm trying to say, is like, when I see someone writing a story, doing things, not badly, but just doing things that I've never seen in a published story ever happen. And it's kind of just like, where did you read this, that this happened, that made you go, this is how you write a story? Like, guns, for example. Guns are actually a great example. You have a lot of people who only know guns through Hollywood, and you can tell when someone knows guns only through Hollywood, or the more unrealistic video games, where they treat it like it's a Hollywood gun or a video game gun, and you can tell right off the bat when that's the case.
Yeah.
How can you tell?
Well, just the way they handle it, how they're not prepared for the recoil, how they think they can just be like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, you know, like they just don't understand like how to reload it.
Like, where the recoil is literally just, it's a small, stiff breeze.
Or, you know, they punch themselves in the face with the gun because they were, like, loose gripping it. Or they weren't bracing their arm. But, you know, point being is that just, like, you can tell they're making these mistakes because that's how they see the Hollywood person do it, so they're copying them, or they copied what they saw in the video game. Which is, you know, I mean, more often than not, modern times is a little bit more accurate these days. But I mean, especially the new Call of Duty, apparently they have like several gun fetishists on the new Call of Duty animation team.
Yes, and
I'm not
It's
complaining.
a good thing.
I know, it's great. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, this is a change back from the old days where I remember they would have the fucking safety on the wrong side of the gun, or like the loading would be like they pull a bolt to load the gun, and like that gun doesn't even have a bolt to pull. Shit like that in the old days.
Lazy animations.
Yeah, shit like that. Or I remember I forget what game it was, but they reloaded the revolver by like shaking the shells out.
No.
That's like Dirty Harry shit. And Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like, what?
It has a thing on it specifically for getting those out.
Yeah, and I also remember one game, I believe it was. Yeah, it was a game where the revolver cylinder was popped out, and they put a new cylinder in as if they were like reloading a magazine.
Some of those
that
do
is a
that.
thing on very, very old revolvers.
Yeah, it was a
Like,
thing on
my
extremely
dad-
old revolvers.
My dad owns, I think, one of those revolvers.
I know, but my point was more the
real-
fact that it wasn't one of those old revolvers. And they were doing that. And I was kind of just like,
No.
okay.
And generally, most people wouldn't carry around spare cylinders with them any fucking way. You might carry some speed loaders, but not cylinders.
I mean, moon clips are a fucking joke. Well, they're kind of garbage, to be real.
Maybe, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, your rubber speed loader, yeah. I'm talking about more that the cheap plastic or the cheap thin steel shit. Chinesium.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. But, like, I have seen some really wild shit. And then there's, like, Alliance of Valiant Arms that's just like, oh, yeah, by the way, you can slam fire the 870. And it's like, oh, okay.
Wait, no, hang
I
on.
wish.
But, yeah, it's just, like, really weird shit. I see in stories where it's kind of just like, where the fuck did you read a story that did this that made you go, oh, that's how you write stories? Because I've never read any of those fucking stories.
Well, Sneaky, you asked that, but we do know the answer, unfortunately.
The answer is usually other fanfiction, yeah.
Sadly.
Yep.
But, like, I mean, that just leads me down the fucking rabbit hole of where did they learn, and where did they learn, where did they learn? It's like, I want to find the individuals that started doing shit wrong and beat them to death.
See, trying to go down that rabbit hole is how you go cross-eyed.
I'm already cross-eyed.
Carry on, then.
Exactly. Yeah, Grandpa Sado. Apparently, oh wow, no quote marks here. I guess we know who's on the list now. What's his name? Insanity Enforcer. You're on the list, Insanity Enforcer. Didn't do a good fucking job of that proofreading now, did you?
Into the book with you.
Said the little girl with dark teal hair that was tied up in ponytail and wearing purple t-shirt and blue shorts and jeans and white shoes and socks. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, this is how I introduce my characters.
That hurts to listen to.
Yeah, we are only hearing it again because Hero picked it again for story time. Okay, so then why don't you fuck the shut up? Why don't you
was
shut the
some
fuck up?
How fake do you junk you am, Sneaky?
I ain't no junk. I'm sober.
Well, this is normal Sneaky, where he just has a stroke.
Hey, look, I have dyslexia, okay?
I remember dyslexia, gotcha.
No, blame it all on dyslexia.
There you go, Sneaky. Now you're learning them.
I will proudly. I don't know if I posted it to you guys or told you guys about this, but I did have a funny little moment at work recently where I just fucking butchered an entire sentence. Did not get a single word spelt right. Dyslexia at full capacity. Spelling those words just jumbled completely. And then someone goes, I have just read that entire sentence correctly in my head, and I had to do a double take to realize that you spelt every single word wrong. I'm like, well, that's how you know you've been working with me long enough.
Oof.
They're like,
Oh,
my
no.
brain hurts now.
Oh no, I understood Sneaky's ramblings. Oh fuck.
You have witnessed the eldritch speak of the old ones.
And then I fucking butchered that sentence, and they were like, "Oh yeah," they responded normally to that, and they were like, "Wait, hold up, how the fuck did I just read that?"
Turns out the human brain is very good at making shortcuts.
Well, I mean, yes, there is
Right,
that, but
malleable.
also the fact that I've been doing that for so long around them that they've been just like, "Oh,
Well, there's
deciphering."
also-
That's just how he
There's
types.
also like as long as your first letter and your ending letter.
Oh, Max, I
Or
didn't even
correct.
have that going for them.
Oh no.
Yeah.
O'Neill.
Yeah. Yeah. Movies, recoil doesn't exist. Games, recoil. Massive, so massive you can't keep the gun straight. It's fucking blowing your arms backwards into the sky. They're ripping off with the recoil.
Oh,
Me
even better.
trying to play a single
shotguns in
fucking round of
games.
CSGO and using the deagle.
Okay, no, hold up. 50 Express does not fuck about with recoil.
50 AE is pretty bad. It's actually
I can
0.49,
use
but whatever.
most other guns in CS just fine. The deagle is where the skill shoots begin.
Okay, yeah, but my point being is that the deagle having a high recoil is real.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
realistic.
Like, the Glock having a high recoil, it should not exist for a trained soldier. I'm sorry, but it shouldn't. A trained soldier should be able to handle firing a USP, a Glock, M1911, like,
What are they chambered in?
usually 9. I mean, the 1911's 45.
Given how
but-
much damage they do in CSGO, they don't fucking use any ammo except for 9mm.
Okay, well, okay.
Oh, so it's this modern limp-wristed military. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, okay, most militaries use 9. Like, we were a little bit different with our fucking 1911. And even, honestly, 45 ultimately does not make that much of a difference when compared in 9. I'm sorry. It doesn't.
But Mustafa power.
The Thompson, as awesome as it was one of the worst fucking machine guns ever invented.
You take that fucking back?
I'm not wrong, and I won't take it back.
You full of shit.
I love the Thompson. It's a
The
terrible...
Thompson's great.
I love the Thompson. It's a terrible fucking subcompact for what it's supposed to be.
It's great. You just have to lean into it.
It's also super fucking heavy because it's a solid steel block.
Exactly. This is what you use to beat a motherfucker with.
Yes, I fully agree.
That's it.
However, that makes it a terrible subcompact.
No, it makes it a great subcompact because it doubles as a melee weapon to use for your interrogations.
America in World War II was so fucked up.
Dude, I'm talking about police use.
Oh yeah, back in the day. Yeah. I don't know. I still love the legendary 870. It's a classic.
The good old trench sweeper.
What gauge is this? 4? Oh, so it shoots pool cues. I'm sorry, what? I watched someone fire a pool cue out of a 4 gauge.
Oh, Jesus.
Why does a 4
Gun and
gauge
arrow.
exist?
Huh?
Why does a 4 gauge even exist?
Because someone thought it'd be really funny.
Hang on. Is this a European 4 gauge or an American 4 gauge? 'Cause
American.
Apparently. Oh Lord. So I know that there's one shotgun that's been getting attention lately. It's the failed anti-aircraft gun that the Russians like. Let's just make it a 6 gauge shotgun. Call it a day.
I mean, there was that one shotgun that proved to be decently popular that the Russians made that was just an anti-aircraft gun that they put on the stock.
Literally, but I just.
Oh, okay. That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, it's the
So-
K something, I think.
KSG.
Yeah. Probably.
I don't know.
So you know they use an 8 gauge to clear out certain mechanical equipment for production, right?
No, but I'm glad I know that now.
Yeah, like sawmills, they would use an 8 gauge loaded with birdshot and blow out sawdust out of the
Yeah,
equipment
the
with it.
Chaos 23, yeah. Suppressing prison riots using a 23x75 cartridge. Jesus Christ.
That sounds great.
The equivalent
Yeah.
of a 6 gauge shotgun.
Yeah.
The barrels were made from 23mm anti-aircraft guns rejected due to production standards.
But they were still good enough to be used for
I
something.
like the top comment. This shit can destroy a car engine block at 100 yards with a slug. What the hell happens in a Russian prison riot that needs this?
Too many prisoners.
No, actually, you're probably not wrong.
Oh, God. The barricade cartridge. It's a solid steel projectile able to destroy engine blocks of a car up to 100 meters away. Russia, what the fuck?
Hey, waste
Ooh.
not, want not.
Look, they needed something to compete with the 50 without having to actually carry a 50.
Yes, the midget cannon.
The almighty power of the midget cannon.
What the hell did I come back to?
Midget cannons.
We were talking about dwarf artillery.
Dwarf fertility? What?
I'm stopping all of them. Sneaky, please proceed with the show. I've silenced the idiots.
Indeed. Yes, the 2 gauge punt gun.
Ah, the good old punt. That man just rapid fire a modified punt gun.
Stop that.
No, this is the punt gun.
Okay,
The opening was his 12 gauge where he was
I
firing
will
clay
not be
pigeons.
silenced.
I see. The
Here-
punt
I
gun.
love-
Yeah.
Here's the
Can't
punt
even-
gun.
I love that you couldn't even see past the barrel. There's so much discharge. Give it a moment.
Holy
Gotta
shit!
clear.
Why did mankind make that? I mean, I know why we made it. We made it for the day we
Because
have to go.
laws.
We have to have a
Everything in
disagreement
this
with the Lord.
general
That is-
direction I want
that
to
is-
cease.
Well, that is false. It was made for duck hunting. How dare you imply it was made for humans?
I didn't imply it was
How
made for
dare you
humans.
imply what?
I implied it was made by humans for when we have a disagreement with the Lord.
No. No, that
It's
was
for when
for
we
this
finally
room.
get to kill God.
Oh, God.
At last, my animes were correct. I can finally fight God.
You know,
Alright, God. Are you ready for the most powerful spell of all? I've been saving this one ever since grandfather taught me it.
That
Sorry,
just looks like a 50 caliber shotgun, kid.
So amusingly enough, a 50 caliber shotgun is only a 10 gauge.
Yes, I know.
A 20 millimeter shotgun is a 6 gauge. Or is that an 8 gauge? I believe it's a 6 gauge.
At this point, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty
I'm
sure
not
it's a
sure I
6
want
gauge.
to know.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's a 6 gauge.
Sneaky, who would win, God or one wheelie tank gun?
Probably God.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with God on this one.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me, Blizzard?
Oh no, what happened this time?
Sneaky,
Yes.
what do you think the Diablo 4 collector's box has?
Oh, everything.
Oh, no.
I heard about this one. It has everything but the video game in it.
What?
Yes, they are selling a collector's edition of Diablo 4 that has everything but Diablo 4 in it.
So it's an empty fucking
Didn't
box.
they have a collector's edition in the last 4 years that was just a digital game code as well?
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So listen, this is coming from Kotaku.
Oh no, it's
But,
real. I
yeah.
watched the interview.
Yeah, no. You get a candle, a mouse pad, a cloth map, a pin, the collector's edition art book, and 2 art prints.
Yeah.
Now, let's be fair. Those are some big prints. They're 18.5 by 10.5.
Also, notice the thing that's missing from this list is the fucking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't fucking work for me.
Why would you have a collector's edition that does not include the object that you are collecting?
His reasons.
I'm gonna be real with you because people are desperate for Blizzard games, I guess. I don't fucking know.
They're so desperate for Blizzard games, they're buying everything but the
No.
game?
Yeah. So like maybe this time they'll make a good game if I buy all of the expansion.
No.
Gimme no.
Is that dumb?
No one has that attitude anymore.
Well, then I don't fucking know why they thought they could get away with it. Maybe they thought that those people still existed.
They probably do somewhere.
That makes me depressed.
Probably. Yeah. Honestly, though, I heard Dragonflight was actually good, and it's really tempting to get back into it.
Okay, listen. They did say something that might get me back in, Sneaky.
Yeah.
Chris Metzen is back.
Oh, I know. Chris Metzen's back. Not only is Chris Metzen back, they actually just put in an in-game item shop that you can do dailies for, that you can buy shit that was previously only bought with real money.
That
This
sounds
doesn't
nice.
make me want to play the game.
No, but it
No,
gives me a
but-
bigger hope. Also,
listen.
it's got some really cool cosmetics in it.
Listen, it's not going to get me to buy the game, but you know what it will get me to do? It will get me to consider buying a Blizzard game again, which is something that previously wasn't possible.
Yeah.
The only Blizzard game I'm going to buy anytime soon is going to be Diablo 4, and that's going to be after the price drops.
You mean you're not going to buy the Diablo 4 Collector's Edition without the game?
No.
Why on earth would you do
No.
that?
Yeah.
Why buy it or why buy the collector's edition?
The other boy, who was semi-spiky black hair wearing green shirt, orange flame icon, jean shorts, and pair of brown shoes, gave the boy who called him out a frown.
Oh shit, Heroes of the... I thought they turned off Heroes of the Storm.
They did.
Then why do they still list on their fucking website, dude?
Because
Because it was something they made.
Yeah.
No, they listed as something you can still download with the Battle.net launcher.
I mean, you can probably still download it, it's just you can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
Why be able to download it
Man,
if you can't
I've got
play
a
it,
couple
though?
multiplayer games on Steam that I can still download and turn on, but their servers were shut down years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Rip Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
There was
was
a game for that?
game.
that was such a pay-to-win jank mess, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I just like the costumes, honestly.
It was such a jank mess, but like
It was fun. It
What
felt
was
good
that
to
one
play.
game? Blacklight?
Oh my god, Blacklight. That's been a hot minute.
That
Oh, gosh, yeah.
was incredibly fun. Yeah, Blacklight. So it was this like sci-fi-ish Call of Duty game where you had like multiple game modes. It was like one of the first Call of Duty-ish games that actually had multiple game modes. It was free to play too. Like, and a majority of the income they had from that game was a shitload of cosmetics. But also the fact that if you wanted a gun, you could have the free trial version of the gun, or you could buy it permanently with real money. Or you could do a like literal metric ton of dailies and slowly build up in-game currency to buy something with. And I played a lot of Blacklight back in the day, and I didn't buy any guns. No, instead I spent all of my in-game currency on permanently buying 4 explosive tomahawks, and
Oh my god.
I would
Oh
just
no.
I would just
Oh,
run
shit.
around the map destroying everyone.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
Like, I would just come flying out of nowhere, throw 3 tomahawks into people, and then be like, yo, bitch, what up? And then hit the detonator, because that was a separate button, by the way, which is also very awesome. So, as their body is flying backwards, you can wait to detonate the tomahawk until someone runs by the body. And I did so much crazy shit with that. I had times where I would like throw a tomahawk into someone, they flew backwards, and then someone else turns the corner and they're like, "Hi, you don't have a gun anymore." I'm like, "I don't need a gun. You just set off my trap card," and then I would blow him up with the tomahawk that was stuck in the dead body.
That's some bullshit.
It was so good because you could use it as a melee weapon, and it was a one-hit kill if you did that. You could use it as a throwing weapon, which was a one-hit kill if you did that, and it was a frag grenade that was remotely detonated.
Yeah, there were some weapons in Call of Duty games and their ilk that were dumb.
It was fantastic. Now, the downside was obviously you only got 1, which is why I bought 4. And instead of having guns, which weighed you down and made you slower, I had 4 tomahawks, which made me fast.
So wait, you could outrun other players.
I just blitzed people. And boy, were people not happy when I joined the game.
Oh damn.
I got a reputation.
people weren't happy with sneaky assisting. Damn,
I'm
who could have
certain
seen that?
It was made all the worse with the fact that everyone had access to a detective mode in that game. It's the game I'm
Blacklight?
thinking of. Yeah, Blacklight had a pseudo detective mode. You could actually see other players to the map for like a few seconds every so often.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm
That-
sure that probably did.
Honestly, that
help.
was one of my favorite features. It was a fantastic anti-camping tool because just anyone can see you camping at any time, but it's
Wh-
not a constant wall hack.
Which is why I did the opposite and just would I had was it the EMP ability? I think it was. So I was just fucking with everyone, blitzing around. Also, another great part in which a lot of games didn't let you do at the time was that if you threw the tomahawk and killed someone, you could just go and pick it back up. If you didn't explode it, obviously.
I was about
Yes.
to ask, surely these things are grabbable.
And so it was just great, because I was just fucking sprinting around the map, just full on maximum speed, just killing people left and right, throwing tomahawks all over the place, futzing with everyone's special, loadouts, like, oh, I spent all this money to buy the extra armor, and to buy the fancy gun, and I got some fucking wacko with no armor on, with 4 tomahawks in his hands, kicking my ass 20-0.
Surprise!
That's what you get.
Surprise! Welcome to death.
Oh god, good times. Yeah, I always get reputations in games that let me do shit like that. Like in Battlefield 3, I got a reputation on the servers that I went to for being that guy.
You had a reputation.
Yes.
Next, you'll be telling me
Who the
that.
fuck?
Well, I expect Sneaky had
Nah.
several reputations.
Basically, it became just acknowledged that if me and my Brazilian friend, which I actually forget the name of now, but back in the day, me and him would just win games. Like, if we were on the same team, everyone on the server was just like, well, I guess that team wins then. Because this dude was psycho. You wouldn't hear from him at all. He never spoke. He never said anything in chat beyond like, I got you covered, or go now. And then you, like, on the scoreboard, you would just see like 12 people in a row get knifed. And it's just like, what the fuck happened?
What the fuck?
Okay, bro, I got you. Nice 10 people.
Yeah, and you're just looking at the scoreboard, and you're like, what the actual shit happened? There was a story here.
There's a story. I missed it. I'm kind of upset now.
Like,
There's a story, I missed it, and it will never happen again. 2 games
how
later.
many of you guys played Battlefield 3?
You know
I
I
did.
did, because I would play support. for
Yeah, you
quite often.
did. Or it did, okay.
Nope.
I did
I mainly
play it,
played
not a
one
lot.
map.
So
So,
there
I
was
can't
one
say
map
much.
that anyone who played Battlefield 3 would probably remember. It had the radio tower on it.
Fuck you. I know exactly what you did. Go fuck yourselves. Both of you.
No,
yourself.
it wasn't
Fuck you.
that.
Fuck you. No, it's
I don't
you.
know the map
You did
that
it.
well.
No, okay, we did it once or twice or 3 times.
Fuck
That's
you.
not what we're talking
Literally
about,
kill
though.
yourself. Fuck
No,
you.
okay,
So-
hang on a second. No, we all did it at least once.
I'm still mad.
I have
So-
no idea what you guys are talking about.
Okay, so the radio tower map, so it's this giant not open plain, it's this giant rolling hillsidey plains. One side has like this sort of city industrial complex shit going on. The other side starts out in the boony docks. And a majority of the map basically is built around converging on the center of the map, which has this giant radio tower which you could blow up the supports for and cause to collapse. The point here, though, is that there was several locations on this map that snipers loved to be in because they offered great view of the map.
Well, it
And-
wasn't just that they offered a great view. They offered a great view and very limited return windows.
That too. The other thing was that the side that spawns in the industrial complex has an advantage when it comes to the heavy armor spawns and their ability to react to problems, because as far as I remember, did the opposing side, the one that spawns out in the hills, actually even get tanks? Because I know they got jeeps and a helicopter, but I don't know if they got tanks or not.
Don't ask me.
Hey, so point being, though,
I can't remember.
is that in this specific event, I, of course, was very, very good at car bombing. Extremely good at car bombing. One could say I tapped into
her
my
ancient
Irish
is
heritage.
asserting itself.
All
I had a
right.
feeling the second that it popped up, you were gonna say that.
Yeah, I want to say I was so on the ball. I was making the joke before Sneaky could.
And so I got really good at it, because I practiced on a bunch of children
Okay, then.
back in the day when I played Battlefield Vietnam at summer camp.
Oh yes, Battlefield Vietnam.
And he would put C4 on the scooters and he would run them into people. That was always fun. Or you would have a special delivery by putting them on the front of the planes and ramming them into someone.
Oh, I was the guy who always just put explosives on my friends' planes and said, "Yo, go into that enemy in like squad." And he's like, "Why on earth would I do that?" And I'm just like, "Dude, trust
I
me."
got famously known in the summer camp group for being the guy who figured out how the radio works on all the vehicles, and I would always turn on Fortunate Son, and everyone, because we're all playing a giant LAN game, you could always hear Fortunate Son playing from someone's speakers because I'm about to run them over or something, and everyone would always panic the second they started hearing Fortunate Son because they're like, oh shit, Sneaky's here.
That's great.
Like,
There
to
was a
give
lot
you
of
an
focus
idea
on
about
Battlefield
how
Vietnam.
bad the score disparity was in Battlefield Vietnam in that summer camp, it was like me up there with like 30 kills, 3 deaths. Second place would be like 27 kills, 5 deaths. And then third place would be like 9 kills, 12 deaths.
See, I remember the first real time I ever got good at Battlefield was Battlefield. What was the one where you were in the Middle East?
3. That was the oil expansion.
Ah, okay. So Sneaky, you remember the map that had you had a little like Middle Eastern, generic copy paste Middle Eastern village. But what was important about it was there was the 4 buildings with a fountain in the courtyard.
Yes.
For whatever reason, the match I was in, people didn't understand that you could sit in that fountain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The way the explosion physics worked in that game was you could see for the doors.
Yes.
And duck down in the fountain and be fine.
Yes.
I abused this to take 52 tickets off the enemy team and win the match.
I remember in Battlefield 3 Vietnam, I one time killed so many people, I ran out of ammo on all of my weapons, and then started having to pick up weapons from other people that I killed to keep killing more people. I got to like 44 kill streak, and then someone finally killed me, and they're like, holy shit, he's finally dead. Thank God. I'm just like...
My absolute favorite... Listen, the moment you know you've succeeded in any FPS is when you've run out of bullets from killing too many of the enemy.
Yeah. But anyway, so specifically on the big radio tower map, we were getting our shit kicked in by the enemy tanks. And I was like, alright, I need C4 on these Jeeps. And so I get in the Jeep, I'm driving at the tank, and my Brazilian friend's like, go, I'll cover you. And then I see the entire sniper line that's shooting at me die to knives. And I was like, okay, I guess we're going. So the enemy team's tanks are like magnetic and they just snap to me. They're like, no, not this time. This time we're gonna win. They're firing, I'm fucking dodging, diving, weaving left and right. I go flying over the hill over the first tank, jump out, watch the Jeep hit the second tank behind the first tank, detonate that, blow up that tank, then I still have my C4 because I made sure to get more C4 before I left. Thanks to the guy who put down the ammo box. And threw it on that tank and then blew that up. And then meanwhile, the Brazilian is just now sniping the shit out of everyone now that he's knifed all the snipers. And that was just fun as hell, because I was literally dodging tank shots. They're like just hitting left and right of me, missing me barely. I'm laughing my head off on the open mic. They're screaming at me. I have rockets flying everywhere. I don't even know who's aiming me at this point. It was good times. That was a great game. And then they made the fourth one, and I saw no point in playing it because I was literally just the third one again. Which wasn't bad, except for the part where they then proceeded to sell those shortcut kits for like $9 each. And it's like, well, you can either devote 40 hours to playing your class, or you can pay us $9. And they made like 6 classes. And it's like,
yeah,
Jesus
I stopped
Christ.
after that.
Yeah, and
Oof.
yeah. And they made Battlefield Vagina, and no one played that one. And Battlefield 1 was alright. I had a decent amount of fun playing that, but it just wasn't a Battlefield World War I game.
No, they had automatic rifles and stuff. It's like, this is...
Yeah.
Not Battlefield 1.
It's Battlefield with a World War One skin.
The best way to describe it is Battlefield 1 felt like a fan fiction where someone had played a bunch of Battlefield 3 and then was like, oh, I want to write about it being in World War 1, and they're going to have like camels and the big prototype tanks that I saw on the Wikipedia, and oh, this guy is gonna wear knight armor and carry a machine gun because that's cool.
I mean, it is.
It is, but it kind of
Like
doesn't
I said, it's
fit.
a fan fiction. I'm not saying it wasn't cool. I'm just saying that wasn't what was happening in World War One.
Yes, unquestionably.
I mean,
if they were to do the knight armor killing random Germans, that'd be fucking hilarious.
I would have been more interested in a Battlefield 1 that took inspiration from what's that game made by Tripwire? The Red Orchestra Rising Storm?
Oh yeah.
The Vietnam Red Orchestra?
I'd just like to play as the good guys for once.
What are you talking
What do you
about?
mean?
The communists are the good guys.
Play as Germany. Fuck playing as the commies.
But excuse you, I'm going to the one place that capitalism hasn't yet corrupted.
Oh my god.
Space!
You're not giving it enough of that Tim Curry.
Anyway.
Listen.
Guys.
So my point is I would have liked Battlefield 1 to take more inspiration from that, because in Rising Storm, they had a position called Commander, and you could go into the Commander terminal, and basically you could have people call in coordinates, and it would appear on your terminal, and you could work with people to triangulate where the enemy is, and then you could call artillery strikes down on them, or scout planes in, or a bombing run, and like a whole bunch of really cool shit that only worked if everyone worked together, because it was literally a map. It wasn't some sort of digital bullshit. You were quite literally on a table, leaning over a map, and then you go to your radio and you're like, artillery at D6, and like artillery hits in the coordinate box D6. Like, that's cool. And you only knew to hit D6 with artillery because someone over the radio said they're at D6.
That is actually pretty cool.
The goddamn walls.
And so like we got really cool shit. And the other thing was like the commander couldn't see it. They could call in scout planes, but they couldn't see anyone with the scout planes. The people in the field got flashes on their mini-map when the scout plane would pass over that location, if there was someone there. Like, that was cool. The Japanese all got this special move that if you sprinted and did a melee attack, your character shouted Banzai and you would start running with your bayonet pointed forward. And the more characters that did a bonsai charge simultaneously in close proximity to each other, the faster you moved and the less damage from bullets you took.
Nice.
And so you had great moments in that game where, like, for example, it got down to no tickets left on either side. I was on the Japanese side. There was 5 of us. None of us had ammo. And there was one dude on the American side left with a Thompson. He had ammo. And he's
So what? Was it just like a fixed bayonets in charge moment?
Quite literally, we stacked up outside the house. We heard him walking around inside it. We, on the local mic, shouted bonsai as our characters are screaming at the top of our lungs. As all 5 of us charge into the house, he's screaming his head off. He's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit! As he's firing wildly down the stairs at us. 4 of my teammates die. I, the last person alive, managed to get to him with my bonsai charge and kill him, winning the round for us.
That's some hero shit.
Some hero shit.
It was great, and like they could have done so much, like the frickin' flamethrowers, the excessive use of chemical weapons.
Oh my god!
They had the mask thing, and they just never really made use of it. Like, oh yeah, some people could throw like chemical grenades and shit like that, but like that doesn't compare to the scale of like this entire zone is now just filled with fumes, and everyone's got to shoot using their masks and no visibility for like the next 3 minutes.
I want to point out, chemical weapons were so excessive and so horrifying that Hitler, the man who popularized genocide, was like, we are not using those.
Those things are inhumane.
I have standards, says the Nazi.
Exactly.
But actually,
to be fair, in that front,
I suppose we should be clear. He wouldn't use them on enemy soldiers. He had no problems firing them off like they were fucking party poppers in his camps, but...
Well, yeah. Either way, the point being, though, is that, like, there could have been so much really cool shit done with Battlefield 1. But, unfortunately, it played like someone was writing a fan fiction of Battlefield 3. So it wasn't fun. I mean, how horrifying would it be if you're in the trenches and then you hear over the radio, the AI calls, incoming gas attack, masks up, and like the entire fucking map, or at least your half, just gets coated in gas and you can't see shit. Like, you can see maybe like, it's like basically you've turned render to ultra low. Render distance to ultra low. You can't see shit. And then someone out of fucking nowhere comes sprinting at you with a goddamn mask and shovel on.
That's
Maybe
assuming
on the local
that
mic,
it calls it.
Krieg.
What was that, son?
That's assuming that the AI even calls it, because there would be, times where it's just like, oh, we didn't see this attack coming, so get fucked.
Yeah, I know, but you gotta make allowances for the fact that it's a video game, and it's not fun if you just punish the players arbitrarily.
Yes, it is. Otherwise, why would people play Dark Souls?
So they can beat it with a banana.
Dark Souls is most of the time not arbitrary.
And yeah, 99% of Dark Souls is just it being difficult, not it being arbitrarily hard, as much as I bitch about it. Now, to be fair, though, some people did kind of prove that Elden Ring was arbitrarily hard in that they were doing movement reading.
Yes.
But point is, though, is that most of the time when you're getting your shit stomped in Dark Souls, it's not because the boss is disproportionately hard, it's because you're doing it wrong.
Also because of the clunky controller setup, movement setup.
Honestly, I don't find it too clunky.
I would say
Aside
past
from
Dark Souls
2.
1. It's not that. It's really not that.
I mean,
Really not
even
that
in
clunky.
Dark Souls 1, it wasn't that clunky. The clunkiness for combat in Dark Souls 1 came more from the fact that the animations for spells were a little bit jank.
Well, in Dark Souls 1, it was simply like, if you're going to take this swing, you're taking this swing.
Yeah, Dark Souls was, I
You are
hope you wanted to
100%
swing,
good.
kid.
The only horrible part about Dark Souls 1 control scheme was trying to play it on a mouse and keyboard on PC for the first time and
Yeah.
realizing I need a fucking controller.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable.
It was really bad. But yeah. Anyway, so back to this boring ass fucking story, where the author needs to really describe every single article of clothing on every single person. And it's like, then a new person enters the room, and he is wearing a button-up shirt with black tie and blue vest and brown slacks and brown shoes.
I wonder who could this be?
I don't know, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just like, every single time a new person walks on the stage, like, the author's like, oh, this is what they're wearing.
You don't need to do that, especially for randoms.
No, you do. You have to describe everyone in excruciating detail all the time.
What's going to happen when he goes to a town and sees a crowd, though?
We're
Fuck
about to
what?
become the Book of
That's
Leviticus,
what.
motherfucker.
Alright, so then we go into several years later, and he's now 19 years old, and he's a total badass, and he's awesome and really cool, and he's got a whole bunch of really good Pokemon, and they're all really strong. It's like, the dude literally just time skipped into being a badass after barely introducing the characters. Also, he
Yeah.
knows all the main cast.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Lazy
Why wouldn't
writing.
he?
What's writing?
Yeah,
Says this author, probably.
pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Let's see what else is in this section. Wait, what the hell? Oh, here we go, yeah. Pokemon Digimon, we're moving on to that. Jackson in Johto, a prelude story to fanfiction Corral the Levi. This is a prelude story to someone else's fanfiction, which is a Ruby crossover.
Oh no.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, damn.
Ooh.
This story is about Jackson Alpha, a boy from another world and his journey through Johto, and how he became the trainer he is in Huntsman and Huntsman and Kalos. Uh-huh. Sonic Pokemon, Loud House Pokemon, of course. Transformers and Pokemon.
What?
In desperate need for new energy, the Autobots go to the Pokemon world. Because the Pokemon there are more than meets the eye.
Yes, but do they have the cube?
What to shove that cube?
They have the spark, yes.
A Mew adventure! Oh wow, no one's ever used that as a title before. A shiny female Mew ends up in the MCU.
Of
Oh.
course it's shiny.
Oh yeah, because Mew would just change so much in the MCU. Oh wow, hold on, my bad. It gets better.
Oh no.
Will she survive with her sanity intact, or will she snap with a capital S? A self-insert isekai where my OC wakes up as a level 100 shiny female Mew that can know 12 moves.
Okay, but why though?
Because reasons.
You know, I really hate the arbitrary limit that people put in their stories. Or they're like, oh, the Pokemon can only know 5 moves. It's like, buddy, you realize it's a game mechanic?
It is
That's a
solely
game mechanic where you don't have
Like,
Someone
do you
told it.
realize how fucking infuriating that would be if every single time it was your turn to attack, you had to scroll past all of the level 1 through 30 abilities when you're level 70 fighting the Elite Four? It's like,
I mean,
oh,
they can
no,
fix
I
that
don't want to
problem
tail
with
whip.
having.
No, I still don't want to tail whip. No, I don't want to use pound. No, I don't want to tail whip. No, I don't want to use pound. It's like, yeah, you just gotta hold the down stick for like 3 minutes every single time you want to
Bro,
attack.
just have shortcuts.
Or you can
Or
just
just fucking rearrange it.
revenge it.
Rearrange it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, but when
yeah, so
Pokemon Red came out, they
now-
didn't think of that.
So now I gotta rearrange over 120 moves on every single one of my Pokemon?
Well, damn, that is a good point.
Yeah. Like, you
The
don't
full
realize
still
how
turn.
many moves a Pokemon learns, and so you actually are sitting there with the list in front of you and just like, well, shit.
Well, damn, there's about 1 billion of these.
Yeah. And it just gets worse with each generation because they just come up with more moves.
Yeah, but the problem is 4 is just way too damn limiting.
It sort of is, but at the same time, I've never really had a problem building a Pokemon around having 4 moves.
You can do it. That doesn't mean 5, 6, even 10 wouldn't be ideal.
Oh yeah, no, certainly, but you gotta keep in mind the game isn't made for even teenagers, it's made for literal children. As, you know, you look at the anime, they literally force Ash to be 10 years old for 35 fucking years, or 25 years.
There.
You know, they clearly think only children play the game, despite the fact that everyone but children play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
At least Transform works. It's painful as hell to do, but it works. It's not painful to do. Transform is quite literally painless because it's a move that Mew naturally knows. Now, if this was a Pokemon that didn't know Transform naturally, and like they're like, oh yeah, we did lab tests on you to force you to have that ability, I could be like, okay, yeah, Transform would hurt. But if you're, say, the progenitor of every Pokemon in existence, and you can canonically transform into every Pokemon in existence because you already have their DNA, their complete DNA sequence inside you, I don't see why Transform would hurt. Because if it did hurt as well, I don't see why Mew would do it so often in the show, because Mew does it fairly often when Mew does show up in the show.
It's the author trying to arbitrarily put in a limit.
Oh, I know, and there's a reason why only 62 people actually genuinely favorited this. Of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did. Total Drama Pokemon Reboot Extreme World Tour. A spin-off of another fanfiction and an unofficial reboot of the spin-off of that fanfiction.
What fucking bullshit did you just spew out?
1 chapter, 19k words. Okay.
Very balanced.
Alright. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the fart guy. I'm kind of horrified.
God.
I'm kind of really scared.
Why do we keep running into this man?
He's
has too
written a new
many.
story, and the story is called "Would You Ride an Electric Zebra Because I Would," and it makes me really concerned that the fart guy is writing this story. I I don't want to know where that goes. I don't want to know what an electric zebra has to do with farting. I just don't. Why? Oh my god. Toon Link gets to fart in the Pokemon world. 7 chapters. Why? Buddy, why?
Because fucking reasons.
God. Holy shit. Star Wars Time Travelers, a sequel to Star Wars Pokemon Rebels. Yes, the titles of the chapters will share the titles of the episodes I used lines from. Oh, good. It's one of those stories. Another Loud House crossover. 7
Why
Deadly
do
Sins.
people like that show?
Because they have no taste, because they are Zoomers who grew up drenched in shit, consuming shit, and when they were presented with a slightly less stinky pile of shit, they declare it gold.
There's also the
Quite a bit. I don't like the show, but I'm just like, that seems like a little bit much, dude.
there's also the weird sexual stuff in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The what?
Yeah.
The what?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't need to know.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't. Don't tell me about
An
it.
Odd Family. This is my first ever fic. Please read and review. Constructive criticism welcome. Okay, buddy. I'll leave you a review.
Sneaky.
He said constructive, Sneaky,
be
not
yourself.
deconstructive.
It's a wall. It's just walls of text. Why is there the Japanese here? What the hell is going on? Literally, there's no Japanese in the rest of the story except for this one moment when he's calling out an attack.
His reasons.
Oh wait, no, here it is. Sparky wrote a note in Japanese, and then he translated it to English for the people that read English. Oh, by the way, Sparky is a 16-year... Oh, no, I was say Sparky is a 16-year-old Jolteon. No. Sparky is 16, and he got a Jolteon. Didn't get a
You sure
Vaporeon.
Sparky isn't the Jolteon?
No, I made sure of that. Also, Sparky's gay. Literally.
He's very happy?
No, he wants to date another boy.
Weird flex, but okay.
One season later, 13 years later, the next day, this dude's just fucking flying with his time skips. Jesus Christ. This is just a wall of text, and there is so much dialogue in here. Alright, so it's time to leave a nice, constructive review for this individual.
Why don't I believe you?
I don't know what book you read that made you think this was how storytelling works, but you should burn it. Also, of note, maybe consider writing an actual summary for your story in the summary section of your story.
That sounds hard.
That sounds very hard.
I think you're asking too much of these people.
possibly also anything else I can say here? Less time skips? Yeah.
Well, that seems obvious. So it's obviously not done.
Post review. See, that was constructive. Monster Girl Quest Evolution.
Okay, there's no constructive criticism to be given here.
After being murdered by his older brother, Kevin didn't know what to expect. Out of all the things he considered waiting for him in the afterlife, getting sent to the Monster Girl Quest world with a primary goal of kidnap, rape, and devouring men was not one of them.
What?
I fucking just blanked out. What the fuck was that sentence? Excuse me?
Oh, MGQ. Yeah, that's accurate, actually.
Oh, it's MGQ. Yeah.
I just said that multiple times.
I honestly kind of blanked it out.
I don't know what that is. I
don't
think
want to
That's-
know.
Monster
You're better
Girl
off not
Quest
knowing.
is a
Monsters eat
hentai
men.
game in where you have to beat the monster girls in a sex battle or they kill you.
Oh, no, or they rape you. Only some of them kill you. Some of them will just take you home.
95% of them kill you, dude.
No, not even that.
Raping you to death
Like
is still killing you.
30%. No, they want to keep you around. Most of them, anyway.
Okay.
I don't know how comfortable I am with your familiarity with this.
I
Me,
think
it's
it's under
fine.
defense of it that you should be a little more.
Who's
worried
DDD
about.
Dario?
I'm familiar with it through porn.
Welcome, DDD Dario.
Well, at least you didn't fucking play
You should
it.
run, lad.
He chose a horrible time to come in.
You did.
Chose the best time to come in. What are you
No.
talking about?
You can keep your mouth shut for the next 5 minutes.
Mo.
Damn, even
It's always
Max is
best to
telling
come
you
in
to
when
shut
there's
up.
no comments.
Alright,
context.
we will add the rank and file role to you, DD Dario. Even though you're a blatant new... Oh, you're not a new account. You've been an account since December 2017 and never changed your profile pic.
What on earth possessed you to come here?
Very interesting.
Curiosity killed cat.
Somebody must have sent
Let's see
in.
what else we got here. A wish for baking. Oh yeah, I remember this story. This was it was started off as like decently amusing, and then it got really cringy. So this is a Pokemon Ranma crossover. A dimension-hopping Jirachi hears a young girl who clearly just messed up an attempt at baking wish she was better at it, and they decided the perfect idea of how to grant that wish. Give the girl the power to turn into an Alcremie, the cooking Pokemon that is a giant ice cream cone.
Cake.
How on earth
Wait,
would that...
Kirby's supposed to be a chef?
Yes,
I
yeah.
think it's literally a cake.
Lore-wise, they are actually master chefs who really enjoy cooking food for people.
Oh,
Yes.
The more
alright.
you know...
That's actually kind of cool.
But why? Why have a Pokemon that does that? Fuck's sake.
Unfortunately for Jirachi, a Cane Tendo not only is bad at baking, but is actually an anime bad cook. A trope so powerful it twists the wish being granted into turning her into a muck. And then
Nice.
Alcremie.
Okay, why?
Alright, so
Because
basically...
it's comment, that's why.
Okay, so it was handled fairly amusingly in the story, right? So the joke is that she can turn into an Alcremie, but if she pays too much attention to cooking, her muck half starts to tell her how to turn it into a bioweapon.
Okay. All
That
right.
explains her canon ability to do exactly that.
I'm intrigued now.
You
And
have
when
lead
she's
counsel.
intentionally trying to cook up poisons as a muck, if she pays too much attention to it, her alcremie side tries to turn it into something edible. And this results in all of her terrible looking food tasting great and all of her great looking food tasting terrible. Because, of course, with her being a Cain and being unable to accept that things are different from how they actually are, so I'm able to accept that her delusion is not different from reality. Different from reality? Anyway, point being, a Cain is delusional as she normally is, and she tries to force her reality of this information I just gave you about how if she focuses too much, she turns one thing into the other. She refuses to accept this and proceeds to try again to prove everyone wrong, but just keeps producing really shit food because she's intentionally trying to produce good food. And everyone says, well, just try and produce shit food and you'll make good food. And she goes, no, I'm going to produce good food because I want to produce good food. You know, completely rejecting the fact that she can produce good food if she just tries to not make it good. You know, typical Cain things.
God, I was some pipe bomb your house, Sneaky.
Why? What's wrong?
You were mispronouncing that so bad.
Thank you. Hello, DD Dario. I'm learning English, and your stream seemed curious to me. Oh, very cool, man. You know, we have Pedro here, who also learned English by listening to our stream. He can confirm that he actually got a significantly better English score after listening to my stream for several years.
We do occasionally teach grammar, that is correct.
Yes.
Speaking of Pedro, he said put him in, coach.
Yes, you will definitely, fine, yeah, he can
Yeah,
hop
but
on.
he's not sitting in any of the... there you are. Why
Yeah.
do we want you?
If he wants to come on, he can come on. Yeah, sometimes it's funny. It's mostly pain. Yeah, no, sometimes we do find very, very amusing stories here that are just so terribly written, they're actually amusing in how bad they are. Because the funny bit is that they're usually written by people who only ever grew up speaking English and reading English. And the only language they know is English. But their comprehension and ability to communicate English is lower than that of someone who is making English their fifth language.
Loath as I am to admit, my English did in fact improve a lot by listening to the podcast, but with that also came the emotional damage. So, yeah.
You know, you know, for everything you gain, you lose something. You know.
That is the law of equivalent
And
exchange.
honestly, yeah, that is the law of equivalent exchange. It is the world we live in.
Most unfortunate.
Here we go. Pokemon Academia! Gentlemen, we have found it! Another coin for Sneaky was right.
You know, I don't like that jar. In fact, I specifically ignored that jar.
You being right about there being a crossover isn't that impressive. It was going to happen.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna be right about it being awful because holy shit, this summary. Pokemon Academia. Izumi, the female Izuku. Midoriya always dreamed of becoming a #1 Pokemon trainer and coordinator with her brother Katsuki by her side, and she never doubted that it would happen. However, with the sudden retirement of the #1 trainer, All Might, the world seems darker and more dangerous. Gay characters, brotherly Bakugo, no quirks. So then what is the My Hero Academia?
What is the point here?
I zoned the fuck out and then suddenly
You zoned back in at the wrong time. I'm sorry to
Oh,
tell
I'm
you.
going back into pain.
Hans gets the flamer.
It's a My Hero Academia story AU where no one has quirks. Oh wow! I can't wait to read a
Also, where Bakugo is not himself, and oh yeah, nothing else is itself either.
Yeah. No one acts like themselves, and they have no quirks, and it's taking place in the Pokemon world. It's just like My Hero Academia. Oh, Jesus. And we have 3 people who say this is a great story. Holy shit, my dude. This story has been bouncing in my head. This, along with my Pokemon Harry Potter crossover. Okay, well, we have to look at that next now. Is going to be my main focus until I burn out on them. Sorry if you are invested in my other stories, but I cannot publish shitty work. Oh, really?
Oh.
I feel like I'm gonna disagree heavily with this statement, author.
Oh, hey, someone left.
Who left? Wait, what? Did Dario leave?
No, Pedro did.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Al Creamy, the mega cake. Cake. In case anyone wants to read this story themselves for some godforsaken reason, here it is in the Discord. This story is filled with quirkless characters. Everyone has aura. Bakugo is a brother, and LGBTQA, two-spirited plus characters. If none of this interests you, you shouldn't read this story because this is an AU world. Man, this ain't an AU world, my dude. This ain't even.
This is just fiction.
Go
write your own book, sir.
You wrote a book and then you were just like, I don't know if I want to use these.
This is just Pokemon.
This story was so bad for CA, his breaker broke mid-speech.
Like, if you, in all seriousness, just go write another story, my man.
Yeah. Like, what's the point of adding My Hero Academia to this if they don't have quirks, they don't act like their characters, their histories are different, and the world isn't Pokemon?
Because reasons.
Asterisk, crack asterisk. Why are you using asterisks for onomatopoeia noises? The sound hit the air, causing a pair of bright emerald green eyes. The sound hit the air. I mean, yeah, I guess technically speaking, that is how sound works. Causing a pair of bright emerald green eyes, there needs to be commas here, to fly open as a 10-year-old Izumi Midoriya jumped up from her sleeping spot to see the large egg resting on her desk, wobbling with a large crack in the middle that was widening. Alright, so there is no commas in this entire sentence. This entire sentence is being treated as an individual paragraph. Again, I don't know where this whole one-sentence paragraph shit started, but I'm really getting sick of it. Oh wow! She called out in joy. Again, there's no commas. This person hates commas. There is no commas. Is there any commas in this entire frickin' story? Oh, there's 160 commas in this story, just nowhere there needs to be. Okay, interesting.
Are they using commas or they should be using periods and like not anywhere else?
Oh, really?
No, I'm asking.
Let's see. Izumi said, making Inko smile. No, that's proper.
Fine.
That's proper.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's proper. Yeah, I mean they are using commas properly down here as far as I can tell with what's highlighted.
So anyway, apparently the story was so fucking bad. As soon as you started reading it, my entire house's fucking breakers went off.
Good. Yeah, you know, fate wanted
That
you to
sounds
not.
Literally nothing was happening.
Yeah.
There was
The ghosts
no
of your
one was using
ancestors are
anything
trying to
strenuous.
protect you, boy. Don't
Indeed.
spurn them.
Soon she laid it upon a small cluster of towels. Soon she laid it upon? So what happened in the meanwhile?
She stood and stared.
Yeah, I guess her animation was stuck in a loop for a little bit, so she couldn't
Well,
move
then,
anywhere.
You got animation stuff.
He posed to assert dominance.
Man, I will never forget starting up Fallout New Vegas for the first time on day 1, and Doc Mitchell's head just rotating off his shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, on day 1, there was a slight bug that when NPCs turned their head to
Slight
look at you
bug.
and talk to you, their skeleton for their head would just like decouple from the rest of their spine, and their heads would just start spinning into their body and out of their body.
Okay. That
Also,
is
that's
Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda. It was
Bethesda moment.
It was wild, especially the time, because they actually put accurate hitboxes and actually attached the hitboxes to the skeleton instead of just being like floaty hitboxy. And I remember someone dodged a headshot in New Vegas because their model glitched out and their head rotated into their body as my sniper shot passed through the location of where their head used to be. And
That's bullshit.
I kind of was just like, yo, man, what the fuck?
Really the greatest Fallout.
He's part turtle.
Fallout New Vegas was a great game. Yeah, no, it was a pretty good game. I had a lot of hours in New Vegas. I especially liked the part where the iBot could dispense C4 for me. That was always good. I crashed my New Vegas on the X-Bone by putting too many explosives down.
Sounds like a sneaky moment.
Because, you know, I did the classic gamer thing in Fallout where I, like, never used any explosives because I was like, what if I come across something I need to use the explosives for? So I just kept not using the explosives, and whenever I had a character that could generate explosives, I would just have them keep generating explosives every single day. And it got to the point where I was cleaning out my inventory of like, oh, I don't use that gun anymore, and that shit, I don't use that shit anymore, and I'm cleaning out my inventory finally, and I'm like, I have 395 frag mines, 137 plasma mines, like 64 cryo mines, and like 200 something C4.
I used all the mines, Sneaky, was really simple.
Yeah.
The quarry.
Yeah. See, that would have been smart. What I did is I just made a giant mountain outside of McCarran Airfield.
Interesting decision.
And then I crashed my game by pulling the trigger.
That too is very common in.
By pulling the trigger on the C4, and that's how I corrupted my save and lost it.
Woo.
Sneaky tech strikes once again.
Yeah.
You will never cease to amaze me.
You fucked it so hard you corrupted your save game. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like...
remember, you are cursed by the Lord.
It's something I have to relearn with every Bethesda game. Like, I really should just remember to do multiple manual saves more often. But, I didn't. I had to relearn to do that with every Bethesda game that ever came out. And yeah, I know New Vegas was actually by Obsidian, but it was a Bethesda game.
It was running with Bethesda's engine.
Yeah. And, like, in Oblivion, I remember my final playthrough of Oblivion on the Xbox had 1,600 manual saves. I had something like 2,000 hours in Oblivion.
Not enough saves.
And you know what the worst part is? That final playthrough was my attempt at a 100%, where I went to. I literally printed out a 40-page map and stuck it to corkboard of Cyrodiil that had every single point of interest on it. And I got through maybe only half the map. I did every quest. I visited every location and cleared it out. And I only got through maybe half of the point of interests. And I had like 1,000 hours at minimum on that save alone. Why? Because I was a kid with a lot of free time, and I only owned like 3 Xbox games. It was Oblivion.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say I only own 3 Xboxes.
Well, no. I only owned like 3 Xbox games. It was Oblivion, Halo 2, and Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. The original. Oh, and Burnout. I had Burnout.
Burnout was a game.
Burnout was a game. Yeah. Honestly, Paradise could have been so good. It wasn't, but it could have been. Yeah. The egg continued to wobble until it glowed a bright white light. Again, commas. The moment the light faded, Izumi took a second to blink her eyes. So the light faded, she paused, then blinked her eyes, and then refocused her eyes on the Pokemon. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure she is human.
It's an interesting take, but alright. She smiled kindly at the small, brown, fox-like creature with a fluffy white collar. "Hello, little one," she says without pause. She said with a bright smile, getting a yip in answer before she gently lifted the newly hatched Eevee. "Welcome to the world," she said. Again, you don't need to say "she said" if you have a period there. As the little guy fell asleep in her arms. A few hours later, Izumi smiled down at the little Eevee as he ate his first bottle-fed meal with eagerness, getting a chuckle from Izumi. Yeah, blah blah blah, Sunny, yeah, okay, so, it's just going into the massive... Katsuki declared he was going to become the Pokemon champion of the Evangelion Archipelago.
The fucking what? You what now?
Do what?
Evangelion Archipelago.
Why is there an Evangelion archipelago?
It's clearly where the third impact is actually going to happen.
Ah, yeah, that's fair.
Have to make a third
If I
impact
know
on this
anything about
fucking
the-
author's brain.
So what? You're gonna make him think of the worst girl in the series constantly?
What, Misato? Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Ritsuko.
It's Ray.
Are we gonna have a fight?
Fuck right off of that shit.
We gonna have a fight?
We're not gonna have a fight.
Everyone knows Ray is worst girl. Duh.
Yes.
Oh. Ritsuko is worst girl.
I bet you're an Asuka lover.
Asuka's
Bro.
great. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Listen here, you cunt.
Fucking
No surprises.
fucking Asuka lovers. Eat my entire fucking.
Asuka's great. Ray's great. Misato's great.
How long has this been an argument? When did the
25
fucking
years.
Evangelion come out?
This has been a
25 years.
fucking
People
year
have been
argument.
arguing about it.
You cunts have
25
been
years of
arguing
you
about this for
fuckers.
25 years.
And we will continue to argue about it for 25 more.
I will continue to argue about it until everyone has my correct opinion.
Yes, my correct opinion.
Unlike
Incorrect.
most of the Archipelagio nations of the Pokemon regions, the Evangelion Islands.
Like, oh,
Archipelago. Yes.
Yeah, really having my fucking pet.
the archipelago is not a fucking ginger retard.
The Evangelion Islands stood out thanks to the ever-changing migration patterns. That's right, folks. These islands were special because no Pokemon ever migrated the same way twice, ever. Period.
Also, the
Oh,
sea
is
around it was
this-
made of Fanta.
In fact, everything in this world is RNG.
Oh, good.
Why
It's
have I gone
XCOM.
back to
Oh, great.
Evangelion Archipelago?
It's okay, Max. It's way better than what Atin came back to as the midget cannon.
Marginally.
It was great.
Max has gone silent. Understandable. The archipelago had
You're just
several.
doing this on fucking purpose.
I am missing Lucio context. What the fuck are you talking about?
Someone said that Ray was best girl, and we've been having an argument ever since.
Ray is one of the best girls.
I mean,
I will fucking
the
shoot you.
midget lore. I'm in the midget lore. What the
Oh.
fuck are you talking about?
Wait, what? Wait, what lore of who now?
You say
Midget Ray.
Cannon.
Oh, the
That's it,
midget cannon. Yeah, no, the midget cannon.
Right.
Do I-
Please.
Do I need to elaborate? Like,
Yes.
I thought it was pretty self-sufficient. All right, so it's a cannon that shoots midgets.
It's a cannon mounted on midgets.
Oh, okay. My brain is rather. I thought you said canon, like canon is in only one N. So somewhere Evangelion became about midgets, and there was a canon about that, and I was very confused.
That is a fucking mental image.
So it's Evangelion Chibi, gotcha.
No! Get in the robot, Shinji! I can't! Climb up! You made it too fucking tall!
All the angels are derping around.
All the angels are regular
Stunted
sized
fucking
people.
legs!
Checks out.
Oh god, that's like a robot chicken skit. I'm pretty sure I just aged myself, revealed my age level there.
Robot Chicken's still
Whoa.
around. I don't know why. that
Is
would
it? Wait,
age
what?
I
Really?
have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's still around. I don't know why.
Because
Damn.
people like it. Dumb people like it.
Yeah, the whole archipelago had several
I will
different
fucking
islands.
murder you. You say again wrong.
Why don't you like
One
the
more time.
archipelago?
What's wrong
It's
with
the
the
archipelago.
archipelago?
No, it's the guys. You're saying it wrong. It's the archipelagio.
Yeah. What's wrong with the
Sneaky, I
archipelago?
hate you. Sneaky, I hate you.
What's wrong with the avocado?
I'm gonna fucking slam my fist with that big skull.
Wait, nose. Wait, nose. How do you pronounce archipelagie?
Arigato. Oh my god, I fucking you.
No, I don't see why you're getting so worked up about us pronouncing archipelago in the wrong manner according to you. Everyone knows
Listen,
that
everyone
Boston...
here is telling you it's pronounced archipelagia.
Yeah, you guys are clearly.
If you're saying it
pronouncing-
wrong,
No, you want to know
We're all
what?
just
I
saying.
realize now.
You're
I
not
realize
bad.
now you
can't
guys
go
are
to the
actually
Evangelion avocado.
You're using the Turkish dialect.
No,
obviously.
look, all we're saying is that you are from Boston and have no remit pronouncing words or telling people how to pronounce them.
I very much attempt to prevent myself from using Boston words. Okay? I do not say
Okay.
Harvard Yard. I refuse to
hold on
fucking
a
say it
second.
in that manner ever.
What was that one word that Nose butchered so badly none of us had any idea what he was talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking
that
about.
has happened several times, sir.
Yeah,
That's-
I
That's
know.
probably happened while I've been
You know
drunk.
how little that narrows it down?
Yeah, I realize how little that narrows it
Drunk-
down now
drunk-
that I've said it
drunk
out
nose
loud.
doesn't count.
No,
Drunk nose
no,
doesn't
this was
count.
no. This was not drunk nose. This was nose hair saying fully confident a word that did not exist the way he pronounced it.
Fucking remember what you're talking about.
Just several words, actually. Anyway. The archipelago had several small islands around the 6 large islands, which I'm pretty sure is standard, I guess? The central being entirely covered by a city. Ah, yes, the entire island was a single city. That certainly has no logistical problems at all.
Well, to be fair, some islands are small enough that you could probably just fit a single city on it.
Yes, but this was the biggest
City
island.
planning.
Oh, well then that's certainly a problem. How the fuck is a city that big?
Well,
Actually,
getting the
wait,
food.
wait. New York exists.
They're shipping it there.
Unfortunately.
This is where the human population lived, and depending on what island you traveled to, you would find an abundance of Pokemon types and challenges, because somehow all of these islands in the exact same location of the exact same grid coordinates somehow all had varying environments, much like the US. Except, you know, compressed into an island chain.
To be fair, that is normal for Pokemon.
Not really, no, actually, not at all.
Japan's got a pretty fucking diverse environment over there.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, like,
You say.
fucking Hokkaido, if we want to fucking talk about that.
yeah, like
Hokkaido?
going
Oh, fucking
all
right.
down, up and down Japan, like, you got a pretty decent smattering of different environments.
I am not actually how you pronounce that region.
Talking
Hokkaido,
about
I believe.
Hokkaido.
Hokkaido?
It's
Hokkaido.
Hokkaido.
Hokkaido? Okay.
Hokkaido.
I genuinely do not know how many of you were just fucking with me, or how much you
Nah, it's Hokkaido.
It's Hokoko.
According
No,
to
it's not
Nexus,
Hokkaido.
okay, no,
You're
hold on now.
just paranoid.
Nexus lives in the area, and according to him, people call it Hokkaido.
I'm sure there's like multiple
Okay.
different dialects that it's just.
People call it Hawkeye Go.
Nose. No one is fucking with you. You're just paranoid.
Yeah, come on, Nose. You gotta be
Get out of my head,
really...
get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head.
You're really slowing
Among
me
Us,
up,
the Among
Tate,
Us
now.
isn't
We're
real, the
just
Among Us isn't
trying
real.
to assist you in your
Take
pronunciation.
your meds, Nosehair. You need them.
No, I refuse to take them.
If he
Press them
take,
up and snort them.
if he takes his meds, he'll realize his MMR is about half the size it really is.
No, that's yours.
No, I know my MMR is only 900.
Exactly, it's actually 450.
Joke's on you. 900.
Well, it should be 450 the way you fucking play.
Excuse you. I play perfectly fine. It's not my fault you get me smurfs in every
It's not
fucking
my
game.
it's not my fucking fault you run in when I say, hey, maybe we shouldn't run at the fucking enemy, and you're just like, fuck you, and you just run in.
Okay, that only happens like half the time. The other half the time you
It
never say.
happens half the time, he says.
The other half the time you never fucking say anything, and you're like, "Bro, I was thinking about not going in." It's like, well, motherfucker, we're in voice chat. There is something called English. Use it.
There is something called pay attention to the fucking map, you fucking hate you.
No.
And this is why you're 450 in a month.
Let's see here. The northernmost island was the Ice Island, and then there was the Steel Island, and the other winter lovin' types.
Winter lovin' types.
There
Huh?
was
No, this is just Japan. But islands
there
instead of
was
a
the
huge
Rock
island.
Island, where rock people lived. And there was the Southeast Power Island, where the electric types lived, and the greatest power
the people
plant
that
to
only
man.
the only people with electricity on that island. Everyone else just uses
They
candles.
outsourced
No,
it.
dude, they ran a
They
giant
outsourced it.
cable from that island to the city. They just got a really long cable.
You see, actually, the reason the migration here is fucked up is that they actually ran the cable under the water.
Yeah.
So,
So
the reason
all,
the migration's
every
so fucked-
year, the
no one
electric
can
types
touch
try to
the fucking
migrate. They
water.
all run into the water and
Yeah.
drown. It's been a real pain to restock the population every year.
The
The
reason the
absolute
migration
year
fucked
is
is
a death
that
trap.
if anyone touches the water, they fucking die.
Southwestern Heat was the largest gathering of fire types, and the Rinkai Coastal Island was where all the water types lived. Ah, yes, the Coastal Island, known for its coastline on the island.
You know, it's
And
around.
none of the other islands have.
Yes, none
yes,
of the other
South-
islands have that. In fact, actually, this is the only island with a coastline.
Maybe it's an island off the coast of another island, Sneaky.
Maybe. Then there was
No,
the
no,
Central
it's-
Island, also known as the Live Island, where
No,
everyone
no, see-
lived.
See, guys, it's just one strip of land. Like it's just one, right? It's like big enough for one house
Like
all the way around, and it's like a giant.
It's
donut.
actually just a giant sandbar.
Also, I'm surprised no one mentioned the Southern Natsu, highly explosive anti-tank island.
All right. Anyway, we've gone 40 minutes past showtime. I'm gonna go find out where my food is. That's what I'm
Alright,
gonna
fair
do.
enough. The regional area filled with a giant city and largest human population where you could find many poison types. Yeah. Like the other regions, Evangelion had its own Pokemon League, Contest League, and Showcase League, and so on. However, where they differed from many ways, if one wished to take part in such a league before the age of 18, they would have to do so as a member of the academy located in the region. Of course. Like Japan. Like, one could even say, like a high school academy, like my high school academia. One could even postulate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgot this was a fucking crossover. Oh no.
Yeah! This is a crossover!
Why did you remind me? My blissful ignorance.
Suffer.
Oh, God.
That's what you get.
UA Academy was the best academy since it was the best academy because it had the champion from the Evangelion region going there. The tournament was a pair of kids working together to pass the tests and the battle trials. After placing in first place, Izumi and Katsui were given eggs to raise along with evolution items. So it's just straight up.
What is it with using the Japanese names?
If they want their names pronounced correctly, they can write them in English.
That's my point. I don't know why fanfiction authors consistently just use.
It's not.
You
no,
barely
look,
pronounce English names correctly.
Look, it's not English. It's not racist because I say that to every other language. Okay, look, okay.
Sneaky. Hold on. Sneaky. You can't just say, oh, if they want it to be pronounced correctly, just write it in English. When you fucking know you'd mispronounce that anyway.
Shut the fuck up. Look, Polish doesn't count, okay? They use way too many consonants, and I'm saying that as an English speaker.
Polish is a language that is known as Elvish.
Polish is what I call, I would like to buy a fucking vowel.
No. Polish, the language that lacks Polish.
Where they
Wait,
use
no, I'm sorry. Swedish is
X's
Elvish.
and Z's and Y's as vowels, because...
The reason is because fuck you.
I know.
Fuck you for trying to pronounce our language.
But anyway, point being is that I in my daily activities, I encounter Spanish speakers with Spanish names. And you know, it's like, fine. Jesus, they pronounce it Jesus. Fine. But I get people that are like, my name is Apple Banana. And I'm like, I can't find Apple Banana on this list. And they're like, ugh, it's spelled C-A-T. I'm like, that's cat. Your name is Cat, not Apple Banana. Cat. There's a little bit of a difference between those two.
Just a bit.
Someone with a Latin name, I find this very funny. Because the way you pronounce Pedro and the way that it is supposed to be pronounced is just it's minor, but I find it funny.
Oh, how's it supposed to be pronounced, Pedro?
Pedro.
I'm sorry, you want to try that with more consonants? I swear to God, it's like the fucking Polish stole all of yours.
It's not
Where did you come from?
It's Pedro.
You're just like, oh yeah, my name's actually pronounced.
His full name is Pedro Alejandro Jesus
For that name.
Martinez. It's fucking 17 different names for Central Americans. I don't know.
Seriously, why would you name your kid Jesus?
It's because they're religious
very
of the
popular.
wrong kind.
Yeah, but you don't.
It's just a very popular Hispanic name for some reason.
Because they really like Jesus.
We don't name our children Jesus in other European nations.
Well, that's
Yeah, but
because
there's
they have
also
proper
nothing stopping
respect
you
for
from-
Jesus in the other
There's also
European
nothing
nations.
stopping them from doing it, though. Like
Cultural norms.
It's a weird cultural norm to me as a Christian. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
now if you named your kid Jesus Christ, now there's going to be a bit of a problem.
That's like you taking the Lord's name in vain just by default there.
We love Jesus, I know.
No.
No, if it was in vain, it would be Jesus. No, it's Jesus.
Which is how
Which is just Jesus. Yeah, like don't
count.
sit here
Spanish-
and tell
as
me
a
that a
Brazilian,
Spanish pastor is
say-
calling it Jesus. Don't tell me that. They're calling it Jesus. When they're giving their
It's
sermons, they're
Jesus.
saying Jesus. They're not saying Jesus in their sermons. They're saying Jesus. Don't give me that bullshit.
It's actually Jesus.
I will freaking shoot a rod from God into Brazil so fast, you're gonna have Brazil 1 and Brazil 2.
Hey, I can say this. I have Jesus in my city. So, Jesus is the correct way to say it.
That is not how it's pronounced.
I'm going to split your country so goddamn wide open, trans surgery doctors will be taking notes from me.
Yeah.
That was
It's not taking the Lord's name in vain, though. And even if it was, that's the Old Testament. that doesn't matter.
Also
Those
true.
rules
Yeah,
don't
God's a lot more
apply.
forgiving.
Everyone knows the patch update for the Old Testament made a superior Bible 2.
God damn it, Sneaky.
Fucking hate you.
Okay, no.
He's not wrong, but I want to say he's
That was-
wrong in principle.
There was no abrogation between Bible 1.0 and Bible 2.0.
Well,
But
there was very
Bible
specific
1.5,
instances.
unfortunately.
Everyone
Bible
also
2.0
knows.
was actually a soft reboot. It wasn't a continuation. It was a soft reboot.
Yeah, and everyone also knows that the King James language
No.
patch was possibly the
No.
worst fan-created language patch.
Oh,
Wait,
well, yes.
That was
Yes.
version 2.0.1, and it was it's horrible.
No, not 0.1. That was point fucking 30.
That was point. It shouldn't exist.
When for years they have specifically gone out of their way to copy this word for fucking word, even when translating.
Look, all-
KJV goes, you know what? No, let's
Look,
put in some.
all I'm saying is that Blizzard
Let's put it
might
in
have
Blizzard.
something right here. I think they've gotten something right. You know, they had WoW, they had Burning Crusade, you know, Wrath of Lich King, you know, Mists of Pandaria, that one we don't talk about, Legion. That other one we don't talk about, but along the way they realized that people really just liked the original 3, and so they went back and they re-released it as WoW Classic. I think it's about time. It's been like 2,000 years. We should get a Bible Classic, you know? We should get a re-release of the original.
Do they?
I can go with this.
That's going to be real hard, considering how hard it is to learn Hebrew.
That is.
Actually, it was in Greek before it was in Hebrew.
No. The
Yeah.
Old
Yeah,
Testament was
that's
in
right. The
Hebrew.
original Bible was
No,
in Greek.
it was originally.
The Old Testament was in Hebrew.
The Old
The
Testament
No,
was.
it was
The
Greek.
Old Testament was in Greek. No, the New Testament was in Greek. The
Old Testament-
was Hebrew.
No,
The Old Testament was Greek and then translated into Hebrew.
No, the Old Testament was Hebrew. The Torah. Do you know how old the Torah is?
That's the Torah. That is not the Old Testament.
No, it's the first
No.
5 books of the
Sam.
Old Testament. You dumb fuck.
The Old Testament was Hebrew. Then the New
Yes.
Testament. The New Testament was Greek, because that's when Jesus was around, and then
No,
Elizabeth-
the New
Well, actually,
Testament is
not
fucking
It
Latin.
was written. No.
What?
Fuck no.
No.
That's a few
Not-
hundred years beyond
Not
that.
even fucking close, my dude.
Well,
The Old
it was not
Testament
written in Greek.
was originally written almost entirely in Hebrew, with a few short elements in Aramaic.
Yeah, there
Of
was
course,
no
it was
Yeah,
in
fucking.
that's the
Aramaic.
language.
Why
I
would
don't
it
know
be
why
in
you
Aramaic?
said fucking Greek.
So,
I don't know either.
Aramaic was the language that Jesus spoke, but the people that wrote it down, it wasn't the apostles, since the apostles were common folk. They didn't know how to write. Their disciples learned how to write, but they wrote in Greek. So the New Testament was mostly written in Greek. The Old Testament was fucking old, ancient Hebrew, and the language that Jesus actually spoke was Aramaic.
God, that's such a clusterfuck of telephone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of how old
That's why
religions
I
work.
said that the King James isn't 2.0.1. It's 2.0.
Yeah, look. All I'm saying is we need to go re-release Bible Classic, having learned everything we did up until the current version, and we just gotta patch update Bible Classic, like with all of the stuff we've learned.
The correct pronunciation, Bible 3, Jesus.
I think
mean-
Bible Classic with a couple of patch updates to cover the obvious
Okay.
exploits, I think would do
well,
well.
Which
Okay,
fucking
here's
exploit?
the real question though. Do we include patch 1.5 in that, which the Catholic Church removed?
Is that Enoch?
There's just a fuck ton of books the Catholic Church removed that are referred to as the Apocrypha. Like all the Jewish and Christianity mythos, like the names of specific demons,
You know
the
what?
events of the Morning Star War, and all that,
Nexus
those
has
were
it
removed by
right.
the Catholic Church.
What we should do is not only release Bible Classic, but we should also get some DLC in there for the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Some mods for our Bible.
the director's cut Game of the Year edition.
You mean the Book of Mormon?
No,
Yeah,
no.
the-
The Book of
Mormon is
Mormon
something
will
different.
be a spiritual seasonal spin-off that we can run every other year.
Don't tell them that.
So what's the Christmas
And
special?
Nexus wrote that the Apocrypha is not mostly Catholic. It is mostly Protestant. There's a bunch of shit that the Catholic Church approves of that that Christianity doesn't.
The Apocrypha are specifically texts that the Catholic Church said, we're not including these as canon, but they are still allowed to be acknowledged.
Reminder that the beatification happened.
Because I'm pretty sure that the Catholic Bible is longer than the Christian Bible.
I wouldn't know. I've never looked at a Catholic. I've
It
never
is.
considered the fact that they
I
might have a
think
slightly
it has
different
like
Bible.
Okay, so
somewhere
by
from
the way,
8
to
to
shed
12
some
months.
light on what Sign was saying, is the original Torah was known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was written in Hebrew originally, but since those were lost and a lot of Jews couldn't even read Hebrew anymore, what is known as the Old Testament and New Testament were originally, air quotes, written in Greek. The codification, when they became known as the Old and New Testaments, they were written in Greek, but the actual original documents were in Hebrew. And basically everyone forgot and lost them, and so they kind of just were like, yeah, we're pretty sure this is what it said, and then they wrote it down in Greek.
Also, remember that, oh god, there's so many fucking games of telephone. Ancient Hebrew, to then the fucking, I don't know, then Aramaic, which was the actual...
You ever hear about the story of the original
spoken, it was spoken in Aramaic.
It was spoken Aramaic.
Told to someone
everything
else,
we have in front
who
of the
then
Bible,
wrote it in their journal, who then translated it to Hebrew, who then taught it to people, and those people then later on wrote it down in Greek when they realized they lost the original copy.
Indeed.
And
So,
then they got translated
there
to
is-
Latin after they had a council create verdicts about what was and would not be accepted in the
Several
translation.
So yeah,
There are
there's
actual
been a
fucking
number
wars
of
about that,
councils.
actually.
Yes,
If I
you can
remember
make a
Yes,
religion
there's
out of
wars.
that.
No.
Yeah, no, you can make a religion out of that because that's exactly what happened.
That is technically what happened. Yes.
So there's a non-zero chance that fucking, I don't know, 50% of the Bible is mistranslated, which is great to
Oh,
think
yeah,
about.
totally. Also, you have to keep in mind that a bunch of the stories that were in the Bible were just kind of lumped into the Bible because everyone told them at the time, and the people who were writing it at the time were like, well, I mean, I guess this might be part of the Bible, question mark? I mean, it sounds like it might be.
I just watched a video about this, about the Leviathan.
Oh,
which
yeah.
probably didn't come from Christianity.
Yeah, it
but from,
didn't. The three beasts did not come from Christianity. Noah's flood did not come from Christianity. We have records of the flood actually being recorded as far back as the first city, Uruk. So kind of predates Christianity a little bit. Even the story itself of Jesus, of the whole Son of God, a God resurrecting and spreading peace and shit, even that is not entirely of its own original make. That we found several stories of similar things that might have inspired the people at the time to add to Joshua the Carpenter's tale. Embellish, if you will. Make interesting.
Fanfiction.
Write fanfiction of, one could even say. Yeah. Don't worry, the British had this happen to them too. There was a period of time in Britain where we pretty much lost all of the history and really the only bits of history we even know about Britain at the time is all of the fan fiction people wrote about this guy called King Arthur that were not sure actually existed or not, but everyone just
good
wrote fan fiction about him, and so we're kind of like, he might have existed. He really seems like he existed, because everyone was writing about him, but it might have just been the most popular story at the time, and everyone wanted to make their own edition of it.
So
Everyone's
funny
had
to
a
me that
lot
of
fucking
good ending.
Lancelot of
Britain
all people
history
is
is no
literally just
more.
fan fiction.
No more Britain. We almost had the fucking good ending. God damn it.
Library of Alexandria.
Burned. House of Wisdom. Burned.
Not to mention all the things the Muslims burned, destroyed, looted
Burned.
in various crusades.
Burned. That one time the Crusade burned their own shit accidentally.
We don't talk about that part, okay?
Look, it happened, okay?
Yeah,
It just
the
had happened.
burnings that we don't even fucking know about because the records of said burnings were burned.
Yeah.
And most of the witnesses were killed, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so, look, history, for example, says that the Spanish Inquisition actually was quite tame, and they basically just went around from house to house and asked people if they were still Christian. Except, oddly enough, the amount of Muslims in Spain at the time rapidly decreased. And, I'm not just talking about on paper.
No, it decreased very quickly for the good of everyone.
Yeah, so I'm just pointing out that what we record in history is not entirely what actually happened.
You mean that history isn't unbiased? How could you say such a thing?
Yeah,
It's clearly written right
I know
here
this
how
might
it
be
happened.
shocking. Yes, I did not prepare you all for this, but So anyway, that concludes my podcast about why everything after the Dead Sea Scrolls is actually a republished fan fiction, and how y'all are wrong.
Let's
Thank
not forget
you.
how Dante's Inferno is fanfiction's fanfiction.
We need to re-release Bible Classic and get those Dead Sea Scrolls translated and more hip to the modern time. So they can be bussin' and lit.
Oh my
What?
God, I
In
hate
the
you.
Bible, written entirely in Zoomerisms.
I just
Oh,
want to
God.
remind everyone that the Zoomer Bible is a real thing and can hurt you.
No, it's not.
Yes,
I
it
refuse
is.
to allow it to by saying that it simply does not exist.
Exactly.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Have a good weekend. There is always more, and it always gets worse.